Chapter 134. The place where Lu Shinan and the rest are staying is a very large Japanese-style house. The architectural style here was the exact opposite of Murong mansions. Murong mansion was the kind of ancient Chinese mansion. It was divided into several entrances and exits, and each courtyard was connected to the next. It was particular about square, layout, and feng shui. However, this Japanese-style house was a typical shogunate style. The yard was full of cherry trees, and one wooden house was connected to another. In the middle of the yard, there was a 3-story Japanese-style castle-like building, which made Li Fan feel like he had entered a game of Japan. "I have something good for you." Just as Li Fan is looking around, Cho Ao suddenly nudges him lightly with his elbow, and then gives him a hearing aid. What is it? Li Fan is a little curious as he reaches out to take it. At the same time, Qi Zeping happens to be looking over. Cho Ao acts as if nothing happened and continues to follow Lu Shinan with his head held high and chest puffed out. Li Fan puts the headset on his ear. He realizes that the conversation between the short middle-aged man and Lu Shinan is actually being translated at the same time. "Miss Lu, it has been hard on you to come all the way to our Cherry Blossom Manor." "Don't mention it." Lu Shinan smiles. "Mr. Yamada's birthday is tomorrow. No matter what, I have to come over to congratulate him." When this Lu Shinan talks to the Japanese shorty, her manner is completely different, giving off the feeling of a businesswoman. Could it be that this venomous woman has a split personality? "Mr. Yamada is looking forward to working with your company this time." The Japanese shorty continues, "He has been waiting for you for a long time. Please lead the way, Mr. Kojima." Although the translation of their conversation is somewhat mechanical, it is still understandable. It is better than listening to gibberish. Li Fan said that the simultaneous translation device should be with Cho Ao, and he only gave him a Bluetooth headset. This group of people is really amazing, even the equipment is so professional. With such a simultaneous translation, it is indeed much more convenient to go anywhere. After all, he was an international super bodyguard. It was hard not to admire him. "Mr. Yamada is just ahead. Milady, please." The few of them walked to the front of a quiet little thatched cottage. A spring was still flowing in the courtyard, adding a sense of tranquility to the courtyard. Next to them was a bamboo forest. Li Fan kept glancing at it from time to time. In the past, assassins liked to ambush in the bamboo forest. This time, it shouldn't be so vulgar, right? He laughed self-deprecatingly. He was really a little frightened by the mere twang of a bow. Now that he was in someone else's territory, such a big island tycoon, the protection measures should be very good. Along the way, there were many bodyguards in the courtyard. "Just wait for me at the door," Lu Shinan instructed. Qi Zeping nodded. "I'll go with you." Li Fan had a responsibility. He didn't want Lu Shinan to die inexplicably. In the end, not only would he have made a wasted trip, he would also have to pay 120,000 yuan. "Baka!" The Japanese shorty seemed to understand Chinese. Hearing Li Fan's words, he immediately became angry. "You are not qualified to see Mr. Yamada. Can I beat him up?" Li Fan pointed at the shorty and asked. "Mr. Kojima's karate is already a second dan." Lu Shinan didn't seem to care. "It's not that I didn't remind you." Li Fan had a feeling that this woman seemed to be provoking him. "All right, little Japanese, come, young master will play with you." Li Fan hooked his finger at the Japanese shorty. "I disdain to fight with you." The Japanese shorty coldly snorted. "Coward." Li Fan curled his lips. "Are you afraid because I'm taller than you? You dare to humiliate me, I am a great samurai." The Japanese shorty immediately couldn't hold it anymore. He first bowed towards the thatched cottage. "Mr. Yamada, please forgive me. I want to seek justice for my samurai." "I'm talking about your height, not your samurai, idiot." Li Fan reminded him, "Seeing that you're short, I'll let you use only one hand." "Baka." The Japanese shorty held back his anger and still bowed towards Li Fan. "Please enlighten me." Just as his voice fell, he was already like a thunderbolt. With 2 big steps, he instantly appeared in front of Li Fan. Following that, he sent a palm straight towards Li Fan's cheek. Most of the karate moves were simple, But the power was not weak. This person's attack carried a faint sound of wind and thunder. He was indeed an expert. But this was nothing to Li Fan. Snake strike. Spirit's snake comes out of its hole. Li Fan's right hand instantly reached out and coiled around the Japanese shorty's arm, locking his attack. At the same time, his fingers were pressed against the Japanese shorty's throat. If Li Fan wanted to, this attack could even pierce through his neck. The Japanese shorty was stunned for a moment, as if he didn't expect that he would fail. Li Fan released his hand, and the Japanese shorty suddenly pressed his palm against it, as if he was unconvinced. But Li Fan's right hand once again reached out and locked his opponent's arm. His fingers once again pressed against the Japanese shorty's throat. The Japanese shorty felt as if it wasn't a hand on his throat, but a spitting venomous snake. Cold sweat appeared on his back, but he said, "I'm not convinced, your martial arts are too evil." Ridiculous. As Li Fan said that, he pressed down with his hand, causing the Japanese shorty to kneel on the ground. Nimble snake strikes out of hole was used to defend and counterattack. It could lock the enemy's attack, and it could also be a fatal move. Li Fan had already spared this person's life twice. Are you convinced? I'm not convinced. The Japanese shorty's mouth was very stubborn. Just as Lu Shinan was thinking about what he would do, Li Fan released his hand once again. The Japanese shorty stabilized his body, then suddenly used a palm strike. With all his strength, he slapped towards Li Fan. Black Bear slamming the door. Li Fan didn't dodge, and with his feet rooted to the ground, he met the Japanese shorty's palm strike. Bam! The Japanese shorty's body flew out and fell to the ground. His left arm was already crippled. I'm bored to death. Li Fan sighed. Even if I gave you a handicap of one hand, you still couldn't win. This palm strike of yours, compared to Liao Bing's thunderbolt palm, is too far off. Ayaya. You bodyguard, how can you be like this? You are too disobedient. Lu Shinan suddenly reprimanded Li Fan. When we go back, I will fire you. Li Fan blinked his eyes, not knowing what she meant. The Japanese shorty quietly stood up, walked to the front of the thatched hut, and knelt down. He pulled out a katana from his waist, which was used to cut the abdomen, and held it with one hand, shouting, "Mr. Yamada, I have let you down." As he said that, he stabbed the katana into his abdomen, and then pulled it horizontally. Blood and intestines flowed out together. Two maids came forward and dragged him away. Li Fan was stunned. What the hell, what situation was this? Chapter 135. I didn't expect my niece to have such an expert under her. Finally, a voice came out from inside the thatched cottage. Looks like the owner of this house could not help but speak. Two maids pulled open the curtain, revealing the scene inside. The thatched cottage was not big, there was only a tatami mat and a small tea table inside. An old man wearing a Japanese kimono was kneeling there, full of vigor. Behind him was a painting, written in Han script, with a big / character. He himself was on the table with a piece of rice paper, holding a brush in his hand, writing something. Looking at his technique, it was vigorous and powerful. He should be a martial arts practitioner. Li Fan's eyes were very sharp now. He could tell with a glance whether someone practiced martial arts or not. Just like what Murong Ing had said, after reaching a certain level, the world in his eyes would become different. Sorry for making you laugh, Mr. Yamada. Although Lu Shinan said so, there was no hint of apology on her face. Both of them were speaking in Chinese at the moment, so it was a waste of simultaneous translation. It is a pity for your right-hand man. Tomorrow is your birthday. My Lu family will naturally give you a big gift to express my regret. Niece, you are really too polite. Only then did the old man called Mr. Yamada raise his head, look at her, and chuckle. It was Kojima-kun's own incompetence. He died for his own samurai Dao, and at the moment of his death, he also washed away his shame. Samurai, and the culture of disembowelment, were naturally not popular among ordinary families in Japan. But in this kind of prestigious family, the rules were still very strict. Even a servant must strictly follow them. This kid's fighting skills are not bad. He should be able to take 3 moves from Kongshan-kun. Li Fan was unhappy. Who the hell is this Kongshan-kun? He makes it sound so cool. I was able to last a few rounds against Murong-ing, so why would I be afraid of a Japanese devil like you? When I talk to Murong-ing about this, she will definitely laugh. Kong-san-kun is the #1 expert in Japan. You really think too highly of my bodyguard. Li Fan was about to speak when Lu Shinon pressed his hand. Mr. Yamada, seeing that you're writing, we won't disturb you. When it's your birthday tomorrow, I, Ding Dang, will accompany you for a drink or two. Alright, I've already asked the servants to arrange the best guest rooms for you. Don't stand on ceremony here, just be casual. As soon as he finished speaking, the curtain was lowered. Another maid came and led them to the guest rooms, and finally stopped in front of a Japanese-style house. Inside the house was a large suite. Chi Zepping assigned several bodyguards tasks to keep an eye on them in different places. Li Fan shamelessly followed Lu Shinon into the house. Take off your clothes. As soon as they entered, Lu Shinon said while tying up her hair. What are you trying to do, you beast? Li Fan hugged his arm. I'm not such a casual person. Casual your sister, who would molest a stupid pig like you. Lu Shinon unbuttoned her clothes and rolled her eyes at Li Fan at the same time. Your clothes are so dirty, I've already asked someone to send new clothes. Then go take a bath. This miss does not want to stay in a room with a smelly dog. As she spoke, she took off her shirt, revealing the leopard print bra inside. You still say you don't have any thoughts? Seeing Lu Shinon's honesty, Li Fan's mouth became dry. What's wrong? In this miss's eyes, you're just a pet dog. Lu Shinon disapprovingly said, so what if I'm seen by a dog? I won't lose a piece of meat. Snake woman, there's a problem with your worldview. Li Fan is unhappy, this insufferably arrogant woman. What's wrong? Could it be that you have a reaction? Lu Shinon has already stripped down to her underwear. Although her chest is not big, her figure is quite good, a standard model's figure. She does not have any fat on her body, and it seems that she often works out. The color of her skin is very healthy, the proportion of her calves and thighs is also very good, very pleasing to the eye. Especially her very perky butt, it can be considered as the most beautiful woman that Li Fan has ever seen. God is indeed fair, he gave Murong-ing big breasts, Lin Yuchen long legs, and Lu Shinon perky butt. Speaking of which, what did he give to Murong? Thinking of his fiendish sister-in-law, Li Fan only felt that he might have given her a beautiful face. Lu Shinon walked over and stood in front of Li Fan. A burst of fragrance assailed his nostrils. Li Fan turned his head away. I absolutely cannot let this snake woman corrupt my pure heart. Why don't you dare to look at this miss? Lu Shinon appreciates Li Fan's somewhat unnatural expression. Could it be that this miss will eat you? That's right. Li Fan bluntly said, you are a snake woman eating people without spitting out the bones. Humph, to tell you the truth, this miss hates stinky men like you the most. Lu Shinon really changes her face as she likes. A second ago, she was still smiling at Li Fan, teasing him in all kinds of ways, and the next second her face sunk, her eyes filled with anger, a group of self-righteous fellows, animals that think with their lower body. Your thinking is distorted. Were you raped by a man when you were a child? Li Fan bluntly asked. You're courting death. Lu Shinon was unbearably angry. She suddenly grabbed a fruit knife from the table beside her and stabbed it towards Li Fan's neck. But how could Li Fan be hurt by this woman? He grabbed Lu Shinon's wrist and then squeezed it. The fruit knife fell down, and Li Fan grabbed it with his other hand, then pressed it on Lu Shinon's white neck. If you weren't my employer, you would be dead now. Li Fan whispered in her ear, then pushed Lu Shinon away. Bastard, you only know how to bully women. Lu Shinon was about to explode. Do you believe that this miss can find 100 experts to beat you to death? Please. Li Fan pushed Lu Shinon's phone on the table forward. Bastard. Lu Shinon grabbed the phone and threw it at Li Fan, but Li Fan dodged it. The phone smashed into the wall behind, breaking into pieces. But it's not too late. Lu Shinon casually began to grab whatever was around her. The table lamp, vase, everything was thrown by her, but it definitely couldn't hit Li Fan. They were all scrapped on the wall. Hearing the sound of smashing in the room, Chi Zepping stopped his subordinate. Let them fight. We can't do anything about it. He finally understood. These two are not the boss and bodyguard relationship, they are clearly a pair of enemies. Chapter 136. After smashing for a long time, Lu Xinan was tired and finally sat on the sofa to pant. So, why bother? Li Fan calmly sat on the ground, admiring the Japanese art on the shelf next to him. Looking at the sculpture of a man and a woman in the posture of an old man pushing a cart, could this thing be called art? The things in Yamada's house were definitely not bad. This explained one truth: if an unknown person made an improper sculpture, people would say it was vulgar and obscene. If a master made one, it would be praised by the world as a peerless masterpiece. It was really a pity to buy a bag last year. Li Fan, our enmity has been sown. Lu Xinan shouted at Li Fan, but Li Fan smiled. You're a famous lady in a city, while I, Li Fan, am just an ordinary high school student. After we finish this task, we'll mind our own business. As the saying goes, you go your own way, and I'll go my own way. In your dreams, Lu Xinan humphed, don't forget, you still have one thing to do for me. Yomi, you'll always owe me. Then why don't you let me do it quickly? Li Fan couldn't help but roll his eyes. Call me earlier, or whatever you want me to do now, I'll do it for you. No, I want to keep it. Lu Xinan suddenly changed the topic. Today, because of you, a person died. Don't you feel anything? It's just a bit shocking. Li Fan thought of that Japanese shorty, and sure enough, he was led astray. Indeed, I didn't expect that he would commit suicide. But this was his own choice. Committing suicide because his skill is inferior, in my opinion, this is not the behavior of a brave man. Then what if you lose? Then I'll risk my life to kill the other party. Li Fan clenched his fist. Even if I lose, I won't lose. Humph, you're just being stubborn. What about you? Did I delay your work? Will this affect your cooperation with that old man Yamada? That's why I said you're stupid. Lu Xinan picked up the fruit knife that Li Fan had put down and began to peel an apple. Yamada's cooperation with me will not change. After all, he needs me, and he needs this huge benefit. Without our support, his group would have been defeated long ago. He's not stupid. That Kojima is just his dog. He doesn't care about a dog's life at all. When Li Fan heard this, he fell silent. He felt like a fox mourning the death of a rabbit. I don't like to hear you chatting like this. It's up to you. Anyway, this is politics and business. No matter which one it is, it's incomparably dark. Lu Xinan pointed at herself. As for me, I grew up in such a dark place. Besides, I've long disliked that old man Yamada. He's too pretentious. I'm so happy that you slapped me. At most, he'll hate you. I heard that old man Yamada keeps a few ninjas. If you're assassinated, it has nothing to do with me. I'll be happy instead. Snake woman. Li Fan was so angry that he almost choked. This woman was too good at scheming. Alright, talking to you about this is like playing the lute to a cow. Lu Xinan continued to focus on peeling the apple. Although she had some social skills, she couldn't peel an apple at all. A good apple was almost peeled by her until only the core was left. Stupid woman. Li Fan snatched the knife from her hand, then picked up a new apple and began to peel it for her. That fruit knife in Li Fan's hand seemed to be alive. It was flexible and freely peeling the apple skin. This apple skin seemed to be dancing. Lu Xinan couldn't move her eyes away. In less than a minute, Li Fan had finished peeling an apple and handed it to Lu Xinan. Humph, who needs your help? Lu Xinan curled her lips and took the apple. AI, what should I do? Li Fan suddenly sighed. What's wrong? Your chest is not even as big as a small apple. Li Fan clicked his tongue in wonder. What should I do? I'm deeply worried for you. You're going to die. Lu Xinan almost exploded in anger. She picked up the apple and wanted to throw it at Li Fan. But after raising the apple in her hand twice, she put it down again. Humph, hitting you would be a waste of this apple. Lu Xinan said as she put the apple in her mouth and took a bite. It seemed like she was eating it sweetly. Li Fan no longer paid attention to this woman who ate apples like a refugee. He needed to exercise every day, even if he was on a business trip. Li Fan took off his coat. His upper body was bare, and then he began to do handstand push-ups. For a dog, your figure is quite good. Lu Xinan ate the apple while watching Li Fan exercise. I don't need your concern. Li Fan rolled his eyes and thought to himself that Lu Xinan was bored out of her mind. I'm too lazy to care about you. This lady is going to take a bath. She had wanted to take a bath for a long time. She just wanted to tease Li Fan on the way, but she didn't expect that she would fail. This made her feel a deep sense of defeat, and she was extremely displeased. For the first time, there was such a man who was out of her control. However, Li Fan was like an attractive prey, waiting for her to successfully hunt him. I will definitely succeed. This was also the first time Lu Xinan had such a strong sense of anticipation. With this anticipation, she went to take a bath. It's been a day. There's still that smell on my body. It's really too annoying. While Li Fan was training, he was still recalling the duel he had with the Japanese shorty today. Although the Japanese shorty's palm technique was not as good as Liao Bing's, there was something special about it. His palm was quick and clean, without the slightest bit of sloppiness. It seemed like his black bear slapping door could also be improved in this way. The Seven Heroes' fist was ever-changing, broad and profound. He still had a long way to go. Li Fan flipped over and landed on the ground. He faced the air beside him and began to wave his palm over and over again. This Lu Xinan was really slow in bathing. Women were really strange creatures. Just 2 more pieces of meat than a man, but the time they took to bathe was twice or even 2 to 3 times longer. Just as Li Fan was training his palm, he suddenly felt a wind behind him. Li Fan turned his head and discovered that the window beside him had been opened. A black figure silently landed in the room. He was dressed in a standard ninja attire and was carrying a katana on his back. Their gazes collided in midair. "Brother," Li Fan chuckled, "didn't your mother teach you to knock before entering the house?" He didn't know if the other party could understand Chinese, but the answer to Li Fan was 3 ninja darts. Chapter 137. These 3 ninja darts can see a person's kung fu. They formed a triangular shape and then drew 3 different trajectories in the air, flying toward Li Fan at high speed. Li Fan's body spun in the air and dodged the 3 ninja darts. "Is this your gift for entering the family? You're too polite." Li Fan laughed. "I don't want it. Here you go." With that, he stretched out his hands towards the ninja darts that were nailed to the wall behind him and activated Dragon Toad Absorption. Under the guidance of his true chi, the 3 ninja darts left the wall and flew towards Li Fan's hands. After Li Fan entered the advanced stage, his control of true chi had also increased by a level. He could clearly feel that his true chi was controlling the 3 ninja darts, as if he was using his hands to grab the 3 ninja darts. Li Fan swung his hand, and the 3 ninja darts, pulled by his true chi, drew an arc and flew back to their owners. The opposite ninja seemed to be a little surprised. He grabbed 2 kunai and quickly deflected the 3 ninja darts. Li Fan could see that this guy's kung fu should be quite good. His kung fu was all about killing people. He was obviously a professional assassin. Seeing that his attack was not very effective against Li Fan, the ninja did not hesitate and roughly observed the house. Seeing the clothes on the sofa, he immediately turned around and rushed towards the direction of the bathroom. This guy actually guessed that Lu Xinan was in the bathroom. Moreover, he also knew the direction of the bathroom. If he was not a traitor, then he had already investigated this place thoroughly. A planned assassination. Chi Zepping and the others who were outside thought that it was a couple quarreling and did not come in. Even if they came in, it would be useless. This ninja's attack method would definitely hurt them. Li Fan immediately used his Qin Gong and chased after the ninja. The bathroom of this house was a very large pool. Although it was far from the big pool at Murong's house, it was still quite large. Lu Xinan was happily soaking in the pool. On top of the pool was a tray with iced champagne. Lu Xinan enjoyed her bath time very much. For Lu Xinan, this was the only time of the day that she could relax. The main thing was that Lu Xinan had a secret that no one knew. When she showered, she liked to do something to comfort herself. This kind of thing must never be known by anyone. That was her own happiness. Lu Xinan put her hands down and closed her eyes gently. Her favorite idol, Brad Pitt, appeared in her mind. But for some unknown reason, Peter's shadow only flashed twice before it turned into Li Fan's appearance. Damn it! Why am I thinking about this man? Why am I thinking about him? That annoying guy, he's not handsome at all. But why is it that the feeling is even stronger? Will he suddenly barge in and push me into the bathtub? Damn it! Lu Xinan, what are you thinking about? Why are you horny for a dog? You must have drunk too much champagne and it's getting to your head. What if he really barges in? What posture should I use to face him? What kind of method should I use to teach him a lesson? Lu Xinan bit her lips gently. She felt like she was about to ascend to the heavens. But at this moment, the bathroom door was kicked open. She opened her eyes in surprise. Did Li Fan really come in? Before she could pull her hand out, she saw a ferocious ninja. The ninja threw 3 ninja darts straight at Lu Xinan. Lu Xinan's eyes widened as if she could already see death coming. Get lost! Li Fan followed closely. With a wave of his hand, he instantly used his true chi on the 3 ninja darts. It seemed like he had seen Li Fan's true chi manipulation skill. The ninja threw the ninja darts with greater force. Li Fan felt like he was pulling 3 male dogs in heat. The next second, they would break free. Humph! Li Fan frowned. Then, with a wave of his hands, he increased his true chi and abruptly changed the direction of the 3 ninja darts. The 3 ninja darts hit the wall next to him, tearing the tiles and nailing them. Cover it! Li Fan raised his hand and threw a bath towel. Under the effect of his true chi, this bath towel lightly flew over and covered Lu Xinan's body. The ninja's move failed and he rushed toward Lu Xinan. Li Fan also used the agile monkey steps and chased after him. He grabbed the ninja's collar from behind, but the ninja managed to escape with a golden cicada. His clothes were shattered by his own chi and he fell into the pool. He grabbed the tachi, unsheathed it and slashed at Lu Xinan. Great sage star picking! From the side, Li Fan used 3 fingers to pinch the ninja's tachi, preventing the tachi from falling down. The ninja held the tachi in one hand and pulled out a kunai from his waist with the other. He stabbed it toward Li Fan's waist. However, Li Fan's movements were faster. He kicked the ninja's arm away. At the same time, Li Fan spat out a ninja dart. This ninja dart was hidden in his mouth when he ran to the bathroom. Play the element of surprise. The ninja's only exposed pair of small eyes were filled with amazement. He only had time to tilt his head, and the ninja dart pierced into his right eye. Blood spurted out. He no longer had the chance to kill, nor did he have the ability. The injured right eye would hinder his rhythm. Baka, the ninja finally spoke, although it was a curse. Baka motherfucker. Li Fan could not help but envy Murong's ability to love. She could grab a handful of water and hurt someone. The ninja also gave up the mission, turned around and ran out, desperately escaping. Li Fan raised his right hand and aimed his finger at the ninja. True chi quickly converged on his finger, and then he flicked it out. The ninja who escaped to the door immediately fell to the ground. His shoulder was shot by Li Fan and there was a bloody hole. However, he rolled on the ground, covered his wound, and threw a smoke bomb on the ground. Bang! Black smoke shrouded the bathtub. Lu Xinan choked and coughed. Li Fan raised his palm and waved it. A gust of wind blew the smoke away. The ninja had already run away. Looking for him was like looking for a needle in a haystack. Although there was some blood on the ground, it disappeared after 2 steps. Presumably, the ninja had a way to deal with it. Your 60,000 yuan was really well spent. Li Fan could not help but ridicule Lu Xinan, who was still sitting in the bathtub. How much hard work did I put in for you? Looking at the dazed Lu Xinan, Li Fan quickly said, "Don't worry, I didn't see anything." Chapter 138. Here you go. After coming out of the bathroom, Lu Xinan had already wrapped a towel around her body, covering her body tightly so that Li Fan couldn't see it at all. Li Fan felt that it was a pity. Such a beautiful spring scenery, but he was in a hurry and didn't get a good look. Alright, when he entered the bathroom, Lu Xinan seemed to be doing something. I really want to turn back time and let him have a good look. Li Fan was sighing with emotion. but Lu Xinan silently handed over a pair of scissors and placed it in front of Li Fan. What are you doing? Li Fan looked at the pair of scissors and couldn't help but be surprised. Are you going to sever all ties with me? You're not going to give me any reward? Of course not. Then I'm relieved. Li Fan heaved a sigh of relief. I'm asking you to poke your eyes. Lu Xinan's voice was emotionless. Don't worry, I'll give you a big pension. Retire your ass. Only a ghost would want to poke my eyes blind. Li Fan was immediately angered. This young master saved you, okay? If it wasn't for young master, there would be a naked female corpse here tomorrow. Get lost. Lu Xinan's heart was extremely uncomfortable. She was seen by Li Fan like that? 2 times today. 2 shameful things were seen by him. If she didn't poke his eyes blind, how could she live on with her face? Besides, didn't I just see you bathing? At that time, the water was full of bubbles and I only saw your upper body, okay? Didn't you still see my chest? Li Fan curled his lips. Stop joking. Where did your chest come from? Li Fan. I must kill you, Lu Xinan almost collapsed. At this time, Li Fan was still mocking her. Even if I have to spend all my wealth, I will kill you. Alright. No matter what, I saw it because I wanted to save you, okay? Li Fan explained, maybe I accidentally saw your body. I didn't do it on purpose. Can't you forgive me? You didn't see anything else? What else? Seeing that Lu Xinan's expression was a little strange, Li Fan didn't quite understand what she meant. You really didn't see it? Hey, what do you mean? I was busy fighting with that ninja, okay? Li Fan was speechless. How would I have the time to look at you carefully? Why don't you take off your clothes now and let me have a good look again? Go to hell. Lu Xinan was very angry. Quarreling with this guy was really not advantageous at all. Since you didn't see anything, then forget it, Lu Xinan muttered in her heart. She still had to entrust her safety to this guy for the next few days. Poking his eyes blind wouldn't do her any good. Exactly. You obviously don't have anything to show me. You want to die? How about it? Come and bite me to death. Li Fan's arrogant look made Lu Xinan want to kill someone. You bastard, if I knew martial arts, I would be the first to dig out your tongue. Snake and scorpion woman, your heart is so vicious, which man would dare to marry you? Humph, it's none of your business. Lu Xinan crossed her arms and said, the men who want to marry this lady are all queuing up in Japan, okay? Are they all severe masochists with heavy tastes? Li Fan couldn't help but ask. Get lost. Lu Xinan glared at Li Fan. You talk too much. Then let me ask you something serious. That ninja today, who do you think sent him? I think he seems to understand the situation here very well. Moreover, he is very professional. I have 2 thoughts right now. Lu Xinan raised 2 fingers. First, this ninja was sent by our opponents, a meticulously planned assassination. Moreover, it is a series of assassinations. If one plan fails, then another, one after another, all linked together to take my life. If this is the case, then it's fine. This lady is not afraid of them. My Red Dragon gang has been in a city for so long, when have we ever been afraid of some Japanese? What about the second? The second thing is that things are getting interesting. Lu Xinan's face sank. If it's not an enemy, then it's an assassin sent by that old man Yamada himself. He does have some powerful ninjas under him. He wants to kill me. Aren't the 2 of you partners? Why does he want to kill you? Li Fan is a little strange, feeling that things are getting more and more chaotic. If only little Four Eyes was by his side at this time. With him, these things are not hard to guess. What's so hard to guess? In this world, there are no absolute enemies, and there are no absolute friends. Lu Xinan said, reaching out to pick up the 2 apples on the table, one big, one small. To them, I am this apple. Lu Xinan put the small apple there and then said, they used to need this apple, so they desperately maintained me. But now, perhaps they have an even bigger apple, so I have become the word, abandon. A bigger apple? We are not the only multinational group in the country. Lu Xinan ridiculed Li Fan's IQ. Why can't you even understand this? I understand. Li Fan suddenly understood. You mean, Yamada already has another partner who has better conditions than you. It's not necessarily that their conditions are better, it can only be said that they gave Yamada something that we can't give. Lu Shinan sneered. No matter what, I'm afraid this time, it will become a hongmen banquet. Anyway, if soldiers come, we'll deal with it. This miss will wait for them. Why are you so stubborn? Aren't we the ones protecting you? Li Fan rolled his eyes. TSK, that's because this miss hired you. Lu Shinan said directly, don't forget, if I die, you have to compensate twice the amount. I feel like I signed a stupid contract. Li Fan complained. Stop it. Before we left, Su Chen must have told you about the danger of the task. But you still agreed, right? Li Fan was speechless. He looked at Lu Shinan, turned around, and walked out. Where are you going? I'm not happy. I'm going to get some fresh air. Li Fan walked out of the room and saw Qi Zepping standing at the door like an iron tower. Are you envious that I can stay in the room? Li Fan decided to find a sense of superiority from Qi Zepping. Qi Zepping firmly shook his head. Let me ask you, how much do you pay for this task? We charge by the hour. Qi Zepping's expression, which had always been like an iceberg, suddenly revealed a smile. How much per hour? 10,000. USD. Fuck. Chapter 139. Although it was the price of a team, but they earned 2 days and 2 nights of hard work in an hour. Li Fan was really unhappy. He was definitely cheated by that old fox, Su Chen. He angrily went to find Lu Shinan to settle the score, but Lu Shinan answered him with a smile. My dear, you've already signed the contract. It's useless to regret. I've boarded the pirate ship. No wonder Su Chen couldn't wait to get me to sign the contract. So this was his intention. Scam. Absolute scam. You're all bad people. Li Fan angrily scolded. If I believe you again, I'll be a puppy. Are you sure? You'll never believe me? Lu Shinan looked at Li Fan provocatively. I don't believe you. I won't believe you even if you beat me to death. You won't believe me no matter what. Yes, I'll never be cheated. Li Fan, you have to believe me. You're definitely not impotent. Li Fan was speechless. This made him unable to refute. Puppy bark twice? Lu Shinan hooked Li Fan's chin with one hand and giggled. I'm YW. So what? Li Fan admitted defeat. Fight me head on. Who's afraid of who? You're awesome, Lu Shinan admitted defeat for the first time. Hurry up and get out. This lady wants to sleep. Why do I have to go out? Li Fan found an opportunity to counterattack. I want to sleep. Of course you have to go out. I'm really sorry. My cheap mission is to stay by your side and protect you for 48 hours. Li Fan used the mission as an excuse. Lu Shinan disagreed. I'm a girl. I don't even have the strength to trust a chicken. What if you have evil intentions towards me? What should I do? You don't have to worry. I'm not interested in flat-chested women. Go to hell, you big pervert. Don't worry, the airport can only stop planes, not other things. Li Fan said meaningfully, you don't have to worry about that. Go to hell. Lu Shinan said angrily. Anyway, I'm worried about you in the house. Snake woman, have you forgotten that there are ninjas watching you in the dark? If I leave the room, someone will definitely slit your throat tonight, okay? Li Fan suddenly said in a horrifying voice, it's fine if I kill you. But what if this ninja is a pervert who likes to rape first and then kill, rape and then kill again? You will be ruined after you die. How terrible would that be? Don't scare me, I won't be scared. Although Lu Shinan said so, she was actually a little scared in her heart. How can this Li Fan speak so vividly? Can't he speak properly? What's the point of scaring a woman? Only I can protect you. Seeing that Lu Shinan's expression seemed to be relaxed, Li Fan immediately struck while the iron was hot and continued, fortunately, I'm not interested in you, so you can have a good night's sleep. This lady's charm is endless, how can you not be interested in me? Lu Shinan immediately exploded. I'm YW. Lu Xinan almost suffocated to death. This guy is too annoying. So, I'm by your side. Nothing will happen to you. Li Fan's righteous look made Lu Xinan feel as if she did something wrong. Then you can stand in front of my door. How can I do that? I'm also a human, I need to sleep, okay? Li Fan's words made Lu Xinan speechless. How can you protect me when you sleep? Are you kidding me? I'm a martial artist. I'm different from ordinary people. Li Fan immediately said, when I sleep, it's like I have a radar on. If there's any danger around me, I'll immediately discover it and eliminate it. Is this your excuse for wanting to sleep? Why would I lie to you? If you don't believe me, you can call Guan Wenbao. Li Fan took out his cell phone, ask if we're all like this. I don't want to ask. Lu Xinan was already a little sleepy. Anyway, I'm sleepy. If you want to sleep, then go sleep on the sofa outside. She was too lazy to continue with Li Fan. She needed a beauty sleep. No, I have to stay close to you to protect you. Don't tell me you want to sleep on the same bed with me. Lu Xinan rolled her eyes at Li Fan. What do you want to do to me? Beast. Li Fan immediately hugged his arms and vigilantly looked at Lu Xinan. I really didn't expect you to be such a person. It's a waste of my painstaking effort to help you. Get lost. You're so shameless. Otherwise, how do you want to sleep? Of course, I'll sleep on the bed, and you'll sleep under the bed. Li Fan pointed at the space under the bed. You're dreaming. Lu Xinan almost exploded in anger. This damn bastard actually let her sleep under the bed. I'm doing this for your own good. Snake woman. Li Fan, on the other hand, felt wronged and cried out. You know that I'm lying in bed, those ninjas will definitely think that I'm you, and then launch a terrifying night attack on me. But you, on the other hand, can lie down under the bed and have a good sleep. I'm so kind to help you, even sacrificing my life, but you scold me. Heartless and unscrupulous. You're the heartless and unscrupulous one. Obviously you want to sleep on my bed, but you still say it in such a righteous manner. You're so shameless. Lu Xinan wanted to beat Li Fan, but Li Fan stretched his body. Stop messing around and sleep. As soon as he finished speaking, he fell directly onto the bed and fell asleep. Bastard. Lu Xinan stomped her foot. This is my bed. Get lost. She stretched out her hands, wanting to push Li Fan off the bed. But she realized that Li Fan was like an iron statue, incomparably heavy. He pressed on the bed, not moving an inch. She simply kicked Li Fan's body, but the pain was so painful that her toes hurt. Is this guy's body made of iron? Bastard. Lu Xinan pulled out a katana from the bedside, aimed it at Li Fan, and was about to chop it down. But she hesitated for a moment, and the katana stopped beside Li Fan's ear. Annoying. Lu Xinan said in her heart, it's not that I can't bear to chop it down. But this guy owes me 500,000, and killing him like this is too easy on him. I'll leave him alive first and use him for me. Lu Xinan was really sleepy. She had been busy the whole day, and she was also scared. She was really tired. She also did not have the energy to continue arguing with Li Fan, so she also laid on the bed and slept soundly. With Li Fan lying beside her, Lu Xinan felt at ease for the first time. This made her very comfortable, and she could not help but stick to Li Fan's side. In the haze, Lu Xinan seemed to have a dream. She dreamt that her mother was by her side, and she seemed to have returned to her childhood, leaning in her mother's arms. If only she could keep leaning like this, how good would it be? Chapter 140. He didn't know if Li Fan scared off the ninja, but no one came to assassinate them tonight. The two of them had a good sleep. The next day, Li Fan woke up early, but Lu Xinan was still sleeping. He didn't dare to go too far away, so he stood on the balcony of the bedroom. This balcony was more like a small dojo. Below the wooden steps was a huge lawn. It was very clean and very spacious. There was not even a footprint on the lawn. It seemed that it was well maintained. The air is so good, and the sky is quite blue. Looking up at the clear sky, Li Fan couldn't help but feel a little emotional. After all, he was a rich man. The place where he lived was almost like heaven. Li Fan thought of the dark sky in City A. He felt a little unreconciled. It was not easy to live in this life. In just a few decades, it was either plain or vigorous. He met Murong-ing by chance and stepped into the world of martial arts. From then on, he would completely change himself. He would either be sensational or die. Li Fan chose this unique path. He wanted to walk it to the end. He stood on the balcony, took a deep breath, and then began to practice. The fist never left the hand, and the song never left the mouth. A martial artist had to train hard every day. Once it was put down, it would be difficult to pick it up again. Although Li Fan didn't need to strengthen his external martial arts, he only needed to strengthen his internal martial arts. But external martial arts were also very important, and he couldn't let it fall behind. A martial artist must be diligent. If he couldn't rest at sunset, he must at least wake up at sunset. He entered the 7 stances of the 7 Heroes' Fist and let himself take turns to experience the feelings of these 7 animals: bear, crane, tiger, deer, ape, toad, snake. For some reason, although Murong-ing told him that his external martial arts had been improved to the extreme, but for some reason, Li Fan always felt that there was a lot of room for improvement in his external martial arts. For example, his own bear cavalry was a stronger stance of the bear strike technique. Then by the same logic, the other external martial arts should also have a stronger stance. Bang! Pa! Every time Li Fan slammed his palm out, there would be a loud bang, as if the air was torn apart. Who's shooting? Lu Shinan suddenly woke up. She looked at Li Fan standing on the balcony and saw the dust around him rising and falling. She couldn't help but curse angrily. Bastard, not letting me have a good night's sleep so early in the morning. Spring is the best time to plan a year, and morning is the best time to plan a day. Li Fan was calm and unperturbed. He continued to practice while saying, "Scorpion woman, you are still young. Don't waste your time sleeping. You know nothing." Lu Shinan looked at Li Fan as if she was looking at an idiot. "Do you know how important sleep is to a woman? The reason I have such a beautiful face is all because of sleeping." "Oh my God." Li Fan was very surprised. "Who did you sleep with?" He reached out and caught the pillow that was thrown at him. "Then don't you need to prepare? I can see a lot of people entering the house from afar." At the far end of the balcony, he could see the gate of the house. A lot of luxury cars were driving into the house. They were guided to find a parking place. "What time is it?" Lu Shinan suddenly froze and then asked. "According to my estimation, it should be around 8 o'clock in the morning." Li Fan looked up at the sun. Because he often gets up early, he had a rough idea of the sun's position at this time. "You bastard! Why didn't you wake me up earlier?" Lu Shinan became even angrier. She quickly climbed out of bed. "Turn around. Don't look at me." "Why?" "I haven't put on makeup." Lu Shinan fiercely rolled her eyes at Li Fan. "You've been looking at me for half a day, okay? Are you sick? Do you need to take medicine? Get out of here. I don't want to see you now." "You and I have the same opinion. I don't want to see you with your disheveled hair. Go to hell. If I didn't have a mission, who would want to see you?" Li Fan continued to say, "I'd rather buy a big wolf dog. I'm happy to see it every day." "Go to hell. Go to hell for me. At least a bitch can have 2 rows of breasts. You don't even have one. I'll kill you." Lu Shinan's decibel was about to tear the air. Li Fan rubbed his ears. He jumped from the balcony to the roof and rubbed his ears. This snake woman actually cheated his money. If I don't teach her a lesson, she won't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Li Fan sat on the roof and condensed his true chi in his eyes, making his vision clearer. The distant scenery seemed to be pulled closer and appeared in front of his eyes. Li Fan looked at those distinguished guests who came to flatter the old man Yamada. Among them, there were some familiar faces from TV. They seemed to be some of the island's politicians. All of them were dressed formally with a face full of flattery. In the island, where money is the boss, even the prime minister was nothing. He obediently served the capitalists. Yamada was a wealthy capitalist in this area, and no politician would oppose his support. Whoever could get the help of the Yamada family, their career would be smooth sailing. They were not Li Fan's target. He was looking for a guy similar to the ninja from yesterday. This bunch of guys who hide their heads and show their tails. Next time I catch them, I'll break their legs and see where they can hide. At this moment, Li Fan suddenly felt his back go numb. He immediately turned his head and saw a ninja dressed in black attacking him from behind, throwing out 3 ninja darts. Li Fan nimbly caught the 3 ninja darts in his hand. But Li Fan smiled and greeted, but the ninja did not seem to be in the mood to fight. He turned his head and rushed into the bamboo forest. As for Li Fan, he was still sitting there calmly, motionless, as if he was basking in the sun. Why don't you chase? Lu Xinan popped her head out and asked Li Fan curiously. Am I stupid? Li Fan's face was full of smiles. This guy suddenly ran out, and instead of attacking you, he attacked me. After fighting, he ran away. He is clearly trying to lure the tiger away from the mountain. He patted his calf. Only a ghost would fall for their trick. These little Japanese think I'm stupid. Looks like you're not too stupid. Lu Xinan nodded her head in satisfaction. I've already changed my clothes. Come down, we're going to celebrate that old Japanese's birthday. You've changed your clothes so quickly? Li Fan was somewhat surprised. What he was even more puzzled was that this woman was in a wolf's den, but she did not panic at all. Instead, she still looked like a spring breeze. Aren't you afraid? With you here, why should this lady be afraid? Chapter 141. What can a tycoon's birthday be like? Li Fan had seen the emperor's birthday on TV before, but today he felt that it was probably just like that. The entire mansion was now decorated like a palace. There were maids and butlers everywhere, welcoming the guests. Old man Yamada sat on an antique chair and was chatting with a few important VIPs. At this time, Lu Xinan walked over. She was dressed a little formally today, a black evening dress. In order to prop up the evening dress, she specially padded 2 layers of chest pads. Li Fan wanted to laugh the whole way, but he could only hold it in. Other than him, the 5 bodyguards of Qi Zeping's team followed her closely, afraid that this rich young miss would be in danger. If they knew about the battle in the bathroom last night, the 5 of them would probably kneel down and commit seppuku. Alright, these people have been living abroad all year round and have accepted Western culture. They probably would not be like that island country shorty. The 5 of them were very nervous. Their faces were taut as they stared at everyone who came in and out. Cho Ao was an explosives expert and also a computer expert. Through a pair of the latest smart glasses, he scanned every guest around him and passed their information to the others through the headphones. Miss Lu, please sit here. Old man Yamada's private secretary immediately invited Lu Xinan to take a seat, and old man Yamada, who was beside him, also said enthusiastically, Niece, is it good to stay here with me? Old man Yamada's enthusiastic look made Li Fan feel very strange. But his words seemed to have a hidden meaning. Is it good to stay here? It was full of meaning. Good, very good. Lu Xinan's words were even more interesting. The servants here are very enthusiastic, and the service is very good. It makes me feel like I'm in heaven. That's good, that's good. It was unknown what old man Yamada's eyes were turning, but Li Fan felt that this old man's schemes should be very deep. The fun here is this. I guarantee that you won't want to go home. That's right, Uncle Yamada. Lu Xinan looked around. The hospitality here is so good, I really don't know if I can go home. As for the matter of the assassin, neither of them mentioned it. But between the lines, no one actually ran away from this matter. A battle of words. Li Fan finally had this feeling. This kind of situation was really not suitable for him. If it was Little Four Eyes, he would definitely be very happy and enjoy it. How boring. I really want to spar with Guan Wenbao. As for the ninja from that day, Li Fan was not in the mood to fight with him. It was too boring. That person's entire body was filled with killing techniques, without any martial skills at all. Among the few bodyguards of Lu Xinan, only Li Fan stood at the side in a carefree manner. From time to time, he would take some food from the cold plate next to him and stuff it into his mouth. Qi Zeping was furious. How was this guy here to be a bodyguard? He was here to freeload. Just as Li Fan was muttering, Lu Xinan clapped her hands. Chi Zepping immediately pushed a box over. Uncle Yamada, today is your birthday. I don't have anything good to give you. This is a night pearl from the South China Sea. It's very valuable. On it, there is a naturally formed mountain and river painting. It was obtained by my father when he went out to sea. All these years, he has always treasured it. Today, I will give this treasure sword to the hero. I wish Uncle Yamada good fortune as vast as the East China Sea and longevity as long as the South Mountain. How can I let your father part with something that he likes? Old man Yamada repeatedly waved his hand, but Lu Shinan insisted on giving it to him. My father repeatedly instructed me to deliver it to your hands. Please accept it. Since it's Mr. Lu's kind intentions, I won't refuse. Old man Yamada let someone take the South Pearl away. Then, he smiled and took out a small box from the housekeeper beside him. Then he took out a black jade dragon-shaped imperial seal. Niece, I know you have some knowledge about antiques. Come and see what this is. Heirloom imperial seal? Lu Shinan's expression was slightly surprised. Why is it in Uncle's hands? Today is my birthday. Someone gave it to me. Yamada said with a smile. This is the real deal. It's different from those imitations. Unfortunately, it's only a Ming Dynasty imperial seal. If it was from the Qin Dynasty, it would be a priceless treasure. The Ming Dynasty imperial seal is already a priceless treasure. At that moment, Li Fan had an impulse to slap old man Yamada to death. Then, he would snatch away his imperial seal and take it back to his country. But this is just a thought. After all, he is not a national treasure team. He doesn't even know if it's real or fake. If it's fake, then there's no value in snatching it. If it's real, oh hee, that person is really generous. It's indeed real. Lu Shinan looked at it carefully and frowned. Uncle Yamada, please name a price. This thing is a priceless treasure. I can't sell it. Old man Yamada waved his hand. Moreover, I'm not short of money. This thing is more or less a memory. I'm old. Sometimes I'll dream of being an emperor. You're almost like an emperor in this house. Lu Shinan said. I don't need to dream anymore. Niece, your tone seems to be a bit anxious. Old man Yamada smiled. Your father and I are old friends. We won't hurt our relationship over such a small thing, right? Of course. But this thing is of great significance to my country. Lu Shinan tried to calm her voice. The imperial seal is one of the treasures taken away by the Japanese army when our country was invaded. It's just some old tunes from history. Old man Yamada changed the topic. Niece, are you married yet? I have a few young talents that I want to introduce to you. That's not necessary. Lu Shinan was in a bad mood. Her face remained calm. I'm not feeling well. I'll take my leave first. As soon as she finished speaking, Li Fan suddenly tugged at her. Bam! A plate on the table suddenly exploded. A bullet mark was left on the table. Assassin! Quickly protect Mr. Yamada. The surrounding bodyguards cried out in alarm. Old man Yamada seemed to be a bit flustered. Don't just protect me. Protect Miss Lu. There was no need for him to order. 5 bodyguards surrounded Lu Shinan, and Chi Zepping looked around nervously. Judging from the direction of the bullet, they're in the east. The person who spoke was Long Yu. He was the sniper in this team. He had already determined the position of the sniper. Chi Zepping and the others used their bodies to block the sniper's line of sight. At the critical moment, they were the meat shields. This was the quality of their team. Chapter 142. At the first moment, Li Fan had already sensed the sniper's position. He didn't know if what he said was considered pretentious, but Li Fan could indeed sense the presence of a murderous aura. What worried him the most was that it wasn't just one murderous aura, but many of them. Sure enough, on the surrounding roofs, many ninjas in black suddenly jumped out. Each of them was holding a katana in their hands. All of them had the same goal. No one bothered old man Yamada. Instead, they all rushed toward Lu Shinan. You are already the focus of the audience. Are you excited? Li Fan looked at the ninjas jumping from all directions and asked Lu Shinan with a smile. At this time, the surrounding guests had already screamed and ran away. Li Fan saw an island politician who was usually very serious on TV. Now, he was running away with his shoes flying and a series of screams coming from his mouth, like a woman who had been molested. "Everyone, be careful." Chi Zepping stared at the ninjas around him. He pulled out his baton and stared at the surroundings. The others also took out their batons. After all, it was impossible to get professional firearms in a foreign country, especially in Japan, where they were unfamiliar with the people and the land. Even if the 5 of them were the most famous bodyguards in the world, they couldn't make bricks without straw. The 5 of them gathered together, fearing that Miss Lu Xinnan would get hurt. Li Fan jumped a few times as if he was moving his body. Ape attack. Li Fan's body had entered a realm of ape attack. Every time he entered this realm, he always felt that the flow of the world had become slower. Although the opponent's moves would also become slower during a fight, it would be much slower during ape attack. It was probably because ape attack relied on speed to fight speed. In the blink of an eye, hundreds of black ninja darts flew over from all directions, whistling through the air and arriving in front of Lu Xinnan in an instant. Chi Zepping's team members were very nervous. This was also the first time they had seen such a situation. How could he be a bodyguard with this appearance? What the hell was a ninja? At the very least, each of them should be equipped with a pistol. Only then would they be able to play their role as a team. But in situations that they couldn't solve, Li Fan was there. Li Fan stood there and stretched out his hands, catching the ninjas that were thrown at him time and time again. At the same time, he threw those ninja darts out and hit another ninja dart. Li Fan was like a human-shaped fortress at this time, protecting Lu Xinnan's safety. There were so many ninja darts, but none of them could break through Li Fan's defense. It had to be said that Chi Zepping and the others were very surprised. They looked at Li Fan in shock. They didn't expect him to have such an ability. It seemed that there was a reason why they had invited him for this mission. In such a situation, they could not do anything. Instead, it was Li Fan, a seemingly unprofessional person, who saved them once again. While Chi Zepping and the others were shocked, they also felt a little ashamed. They had so much money, but now they could only accept the protection of others with the Missy. Their pride was really unbearable. But Li Fan didn't think so much. He focused on dealing with the ninja darts that were flying at him from all directions. There were too many enemies around him. There were also a lot of ninja darts. They were densely packed like it was raining. More ninja darts collided in the air, creating golden sparks. Those ninjas seemed to have realized that relying on ninja darts was not enough to kill the target. Many ninjas stood on the rooftops beside them. They pulled the bows in their hands and shot at Lu Xinnan. The power of the bow and arrow was many times stronger than the ninja darts. The speed of the arrows from all directions was extremely fast. It was as if Lu Xinnan would become a hedgehog at any time. "Umph." Li Fan snorted coldly. He stretched out his hands and grabbed 2 sticks from Chi Zepping and Cho Ao's hands. He held them in his hands and kept waving them. He hit the arrows in front of him again and again. Li Fan's defense was like a city wall. Relying on him alone, he completely blocked the attacks from all directions. Chi Zepping and the others opened their mouths wide. They couldn't believe their eyes. Was he still human? He could block so many arrows by himself? That was impossible. How could there be such a strong athletic ability? What a terrifying nervous system to have such a superb reaction speed. And a ninja had already sneaked to their side. The tachi in his hand stabbed towards Lu Xinnan. Li Fan, however, raised his foot and kicked the ninja, sending him flying. More ninjas approached Lu Xinnan. This Missy was not afraid in the face of danger. "With Li Fan here, don't even think about getting close to me." "Fuck, I don't even have the confidence." Li Fan rolled his eyes. "But since I'm here, the Japanese can't hurt you. If you lose even a single hair, I'll bring my head to see you." With that, Li Fan did not defend but counterattacked. He looked at the ninjas on the roofs and used one hand to block the flying arrows. Then, he stretched out his other hand and held it in the shape of a pistol. He pointed at a ninja in the distance. Using his true energy as a bullet, he shot the ninja's body. The ninja let out a muffled groan. He was shot and fell to the ground. his head was bleeding. Li Fan had never killed anyone before. But towards these Japanese, he was not polite at all. Using his hand as a gun, Li Fan fired continuously. The bullets shot down the ninjas on the roofs again and again. Li Fan consumed about 1/10 of his true energy. Finally, he killed all the ninjas on the roofs. Li Fan felt that he should practice his marksmanship. Sometimes, he needed 2 or 3 shots to hit a ninja. What kind of hidden weapon is this? Lu Shinan actually wanted to ask yesterday. Last time, Li Fan also used his finger to shoot down the ninja who came to assassinate him. This is called fancy pistol shot. Li Fan casually came up with a name. This made Lu Shinan so angry that she rolled her eyes. Fancy pistol shot your sister. Chi Zepping and the others were also very speechless. Although they did not understand why Li Fan could use his finger to shoot the so-called bullets, the effect was still very obvious. The ninjas on the roofs had all been killed. As for the remaining ninjas, every time Li Fan punched or kicked, he would be able to quickly and cleanly send them flying. These Japanese are far weaker than the ninja from yesterday. As Li Fan easily took down the ninjas that were close to him, he said with a smile, "It's like I'm bullying a noob. Is there no expert from Japan that can come out and play with me?" Just as his voice fell, the surrounding ninjas suddenly retreated. Li Fan raised his head and used the stick in his hand to block above his head. Dang! This stick blocked a katana. Li Fan's arm also slightly sank. In front of him was a ninja wearing white clothes. A pair of small eyes peeked out from the gap and stared at Li Fan. Chapter 143. That kind of gaze, it was as if a dead person was looking at him. No, to be exact, it was a dead person looking at another dead person. In any case, it made Li Fan very uncomfortable, and his entire body felt a little creepy. Look at your grandpa. Li Fan's true energy exploded from the rod, forming ripples that shook away the other party's Tai Dao. What surprised Li Fan was that the other party actually gave up on this Tai Dao, that he did not know what kind of famous blade it was. Instead, he took out a strangely shaped large blade from his back and held it in his hand. With a shake of his hand, this thing immediately turned into the shape of a sickle. The huge blade carried the aura of death as it swept towards Li Fan. If this sickle were to cut Li Fan's body, he would definitely be cut into 2 pieces. Li Fan extended his hand, and the Tai Dao on the ground was sucked into his hand using the dragon toad absorbing water. He raised the Tai Dao, holding the hilt with one hand and dragging the blade with the other. He poured the true energy in his body into the slender blade of the Tai Dao through his palm. Clang! The Tai Dao trembled heavily. With the power of the true energy, it actually blocked the heavy sickle. Rare guest cultivator. Li Fan actually heard the Japanese language from the mouth of this white-clothed ninja. It was truly rare. Are you finally not a mute? Li Fan said happily, "It is fate that we meet. Killing people will spoil the scenery. Why don't we sit down and have a cup of tea and chat?" "There is a way." The white-clothed ninja roared. Li Fan glanced at Lu Shinan, who was beside him. "What did he say?" "He said that he is gay and likes you very much. He wants to taste your chrysanthemum tonight." Lu Shinan said without hesitation, "He is truly a pervert." Holy shit, just a few words, but they represent so many meanings? Li Fan was very surprised, but Lu Shinan nodded. "You have to be careful. He is a pervert. Be careful of your chrysanthemum." "Get lost, Japanese. Stay away from me." Li Fan used the great sage star plucking technique and pinched the white-clothed ninja's scythe, preventing him from pulling it out. At the same time, Li Fan's feet suddenly left the ground and kicked horizontally towards the white-clothed ninja's chest. Bang! Dang dang dang! The ninja in white took 2 steps back from the kick, but he took advantage of Li Fan's attack to pull out his scythe. He endured the pain in his body. Every ninja had to train like a Shura, so this little pain was nothing. He held the scythe and spun it like a sharp blade of the Grim Reaper, cutting towards Li Fan's neck. "I think you want to fucking rape a corpse." Li Fan saw how vicious his attacks were and how each of his moves had the momentum to slash someone. It seemed that he would not stop until he was cut in half. "The 5 of you protect the Scorpion Girl in case someone ambushes her." Li Fan ordered and then focused on the battle with the ninja in white. This ninja in white was not weak. Although he did not know how to use true energy, his physical strength was superior and he did not feel pain. Such a powerful man was like a devil that crawled out of hell. If he was empty-handed, Li Fan had 100% confidence that he could defeat him. However, the sharp scythe in his hand was indeed troublesome. "I have a way to kill you." The ninja in white shouted the same words as before and spun his scythe to attack, scaring Li Fan so much that he almost peed his pants. "Fuck, stinky pervert. I'm not interested in you." Li Fan suddenly raised his foot and fiercely kicked the blade of his scythe. The white deer kicked the door. This kick was extremely heavy. Even the ninja in white was kicked to the point that his scythe trembled. As for Li Fan, he withdrew his body. The ninja in white reacted quickly and pulled out a kunai from his bosom and stabbed towards Li Fan. Spirit's snake comes out of its hole. Li Fan's right hand locked onto his attacking arm and then fiercely stabbed his throat with his palm. The ninja in white was immediately unable to breathe as he covered his neck and knelt on the ground. Fierce tiger tail whip. Li Fan turned around and kicked the ninja in white's head. He groaned and was sent flying by Li Fan's kick. He fainted on the ground. In the blink of an eye, more than 40 ninjas were all knocked down by Li Fan alone. They were surrounded by ninjas, and their attack was a complete failure. Bagyar. Just as Li Fan clapped his hands and was about to raise the price, a ninja suddenly got up from the ground with a detonator tied to his waist and rushed towards Li Fan and the others. Tofu, still playing with a human bomb? When Li Fan was still 3 meters away from him, he suddenly took a deep breath and struck out with his palm. Money Toad Spitting Pearl. A white pearl immediately flew out from Li Fan's palm. In the blink of an eye, it crossed a distance of 3 meters and hit the ninja's body. This ninja did not even touch Li Fan's hair and was sent flying. In the blink of an eye, he was sent flying 7 to 8 meters into the sky. Without hesitation, Li Fan threw himself onto Lu Xinan's body. This woman was now his rich owner. He could not let her die. 120,000, he could not afford to compensate. As for Qi Zepping and the others, they were also very experienced. They all lay on the ground but still maintained the formation surrounding Lu Xinan. Boom! With a loud sound, the entire courtyard shook. Old Man Yamada's grass was blown up and scattered everywhere, dirtying Li Fan's black suit. Not only was that ninja blown into meat paste, but he also implicated several of his companions. However, following his failure, the other ninjas bit open a poison sac in their teeth and committed suicide by consuming the poison. Scary. Seeing this scene, Li Fan finally felt a little scared. These people, aren't they death warriors? If they all came with explosives, I really can't deal with them. Although he was a martial artist, he was still a mortal. If he could spit out divine swords and send out 300 swords to take down these ninjas, there would be no such problem. It was better not to be delusional. This was the real world, and practicing martial arts was the best way out for him. This mission is really dangerous. Li Fan finally had the chance to talk about the salary with Lu Xinan. Snake Woman, I think we should talk about the price increase. Uncle Yamada, are you all right? Lu Xinan ignored Li Fan and walked straight towards Old Man Yamada. The old man's face was a little sluggish, but hearing Lu Xinan's words, he immediately came back to his senses and asked with concern. Niece, are you injured? No, I'm fine. Lu Xinan's words had a deeper meaning, but the security of the island is really too bad. I have to reconsider the investment environment. This needs to be considered carefully. I am worried about the security of our country. Old Man Yamada said righteously, we are clearly a peaceful country. Now that such a terrible thing has happened, I want to protest this matter with the Prime Minister. Chapter 144. Lu Xinan naturally would not take this kind of diplomatic rhetoric seriously. She stayed here for another day and prepared to leave the next day. There shouldn't be any danger tonight. Lu Xinan said, even if it's Yamada, he doesn't have the ability to continuously mobilize so many experts to deal with me. Then can I take a leave from you tonight? Li Fan stretched as he asked. Take a leave? A leave? Lu Shinan felt strange and immediately asked. It's not easy to come to Japan. I'm going to stroll around and take a look at the ginza and the like, and feel the pure customs here. The smile on Li Fan's face was somewhat wretched, but Lu Shinan fiercely rolled her eyes at him. Come on, you think I can't guess your thoughts? What thoughts? You want to bring back the national treasure, right? Lu Shinan took out a map. Without my help, can you do it? Fuck, you woman, could it be that you're a roundworm in my stomach? Li Fan muttered, but Lu Shinan tenderly scolded. Go to hell, who's a roundworm? So disgusting. Otherwise, how could you guess it? Li Fan was a little strange. Wasn't this woman a little too smart? Why can't I guess it? Every Chinese man wants to bring the imperial jade seal back to China. Lu Shinan said straightforwardly, if you're a Chinese man, you'll naturally want to do the same. What about Xi Zeping and the rest, don't they want it? They're different. These people are Chinese Americans. They don't have a deep relationship with China. Lu Shinan took the map and pointed at it, but this time, I can let them help me. After all, I'm the one who spent money to invite them. Moreover, it's a lot of money, okay? Li Fan felt a bit unbalanced in his heart, but Lu Shinan said objectively. What's there to be unbalanced about? You only won once in an underground boxing match. But these 5 people were experienced and famous. They had been professional bodyguards for 20 years. If you don't make a name for yourself, who will spend a lot of money to hire you? I want to raise the price. We'll talk about that next time. Lu Shinan shrugged her shoulders. Anyway, this time, it's 60,000 yuan. You have to protect me and send me safely on the plane home. Fuck you. Come on. It's worse than fucking dogs. Lu Shinan really wanted to kick Li Fan back to City A, but he still had to stay to protect her. The last wave of assassinations should be on the way back. If Li Fan wasn't here, these world-famous bodyguards might not be able to protect him. The ninjas of the island nation are too strange, and it is indeed beyond the scope of Xi Zeping's business. But when it came to stealing treasures, they could still be of some use. Look at you, always scolding people. You're a missy after all, how can you be so uncultured? Go to hell, it's none of your business if I'm uncultured or not. Stop fooling around, we're talking business. Li Fan looked at the map seriously. Is this the layout of the house? Li Fan's ability to change his expression was even better than a woman's. Lu Shinan almost couldn't keep up with his jumpy thinking. She was about to break down. She took 2 deep breaths to calm herself down, and then said, Have you decided to help get back the national treasure? Of course, it's our ancestors' thing after all. If these Japanese want to take it away and not return it, they have to ask me, Li Fan, first. Li Fan sneered. Thinking of old man Tian's smug face when he went up the mountain, he couldn't help but get angry. But as a martial artist, he must always keep his mind rational and not be provoked by emotions. Otherwise, the demons in his heart would suddenly appear and disturb his mind again. Practicing martial arts was difficult. Regardless of whether it was external or internal skills, if he didn't master them well, he would hurt himself. I'm going back to China with my ancestors' things. Li Fan, do you know why I bought Guan Wenbao? Lu Shinan suddenly asked. Li Fan recalled, wasn't it because you were a snake and wanted to toy with him? Get lost, I won't buy a useless person. Lu Shinan rolled her eyes. He used himself to redeem his family's escort agency. What day and age are we in? There are still escort agencies? Li Fan had wanted to ask Guan Wenbao this question for a long time, but he didn't want to touch on his sore spot, so he didn't talk about it. Now that old Guan wasn't around, he could only ask Lu Shinan. Of course there are. China's escort agencies are famous all over the world. Some of the old agencies are even better than those umbrella security companies. This is the first time I've heard of this. Li Fan thought that Murong should know about this, but she didn't tell him. Maybe because he hadn't met her yet. When he did, she would have told him. The Guan family's escort agency was left behind by the second Master Guan. Lu Shinan's eyes were filled with admiration. Especially decades ago, when Guan Wenbao's grandfather was still alive, the Guan family's escort agency had a high status. Everyone in the martial world respected the Guan family when it came to escorts. However, old Master Guan's son, Guan Wenbao's father, was sickly at a young age. In order to treat him, the Guan family basically spent all their money, and they slowly fell into poverty. When it came to Guan Wenbao's generation, although he had the intention to revitalize the escort agency, his family's fortunes had declined and his business was too run down. Even the agency had been mortgaged. If I hadn't been kind and helped him redeem the agency, I'm afraid the name of the Guan family would have been completely gone. Damn it, as if you are a good person. Li Fan rolled his eyes. He owes me a favor. That is an indisputable fact. That doesn't mean you can humiliate him. Li Fan said straightforwardly, a man lives with a breath, and a tree with a bark. Guan Wenbao bowed to you because he wanted to repay your kindness. Now, you don't even have the last person who is willing to repay you. You are a failure in life, Snake Lady. Bullshit. I live a good life. Lu Xinan was angry again. She patted her chest and said, many people envy my life. I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth. Then let me ask you, do you have friends? Li Fan asked a simple question, but Lu Xinan didn't know what to say. Why don't I? I have many friends. When I go out to a party, I can make a lot of friends. Guan Wenbao and I are friends now. We can sacrifice our lives for each other. Li Fan said loudly, I have Lei and Little Four Eyes. We don't have any relationship, but we can talk to each other, share weal and woe. Snake Lady, let me ask you, do you have friends like this? Chapter 145. Lu Xinan thought for a long time but couldn't think of such a person. I have money. I can hire the best bodyguards to die for me. They will die for your money, not for you. Li Fan laughed. Lu Xinan, if you don't have money, then you are nothing. I will be rich for the rest of my life. They will always have to suck up to me. Lu Xinan said confidently, including you, Li Fan. You still owe me money. Don't forget. I won't forget. Just let me return it to you. Li Fan shrugged his shoulders. But young master, I only sell my skills, not my body. Don't have any improper thoughts. Go to hell. Only a ghost would have improper thoughts about you. Lu Xinan was furious. This damned guy, what was going on in his head all day long? How could I have any thoughts about him? He was a bastard. A complete and utter bastard. Look, you're going off topic. Li Fan said in all seriousness, how can this person be like this? He's too much. I was just talking to you about something serious. Look at you, you're just rambling. Your sister. Lu Xinan's eyes were about to roll to the sky. This guy was too annoying. Why couldn't she win against him? It wasn't like he had no desires, but she couldn't find a place to start. Annoying, he was really too annoying. Lu Xinan was about to explode in anger, but she had nowhere to vent. She could only use her finger to poke the map, as if she wanted to poke the map. Missy, if you use more strength, the table is going to explode from your poking. Li Fan couldn't help but ridicule. Lu Xinan said angrily, see this? This is it. This is the place where old man Yamada keeps his treasures. It's a 10-meter deep steel basement. The security here is very tight. The only entrance is this door, which is old man Yamada's bedroom. Lu Xinan pointed to a building next to it. There are no other entrances or exits in this place. Also, there are a total of 10 security doors inside, and each of them has a biological detector to scan for people entering. Once someone enters, all the security doors will be immediately locked. I don't know much about this. Let Chi Zepping and the others come in. Of course, that's why they're hired. Lu Xinan said something through the earpiece, and Chi Zepping's team immediately walked in. Lu Xinan told him about the matter, and Chi Zepping's eyes actually lit up. It seemed that he had been stifled for the past few days. Now that there was finally something for him to do, he was very excited. This place is known as a Class 5A fortress. Chi Zepping stared at the map. Our only chance to strike is Mr. Yamada's bedroom. The method of entry should be fingerprint, voice control, or retina scan, so we need to get this old gentleman's physical characteristics. Fingerprint is easy to get, voice control is also not a problem, but if it's retina scan, it's difficult. Qi Zeping said, I need to get some props. I'll get someone to send them to me tonight. Can you get them? Lu Xinan asked very cautiously. No problem, I have some connections in the island as well. Qi Zeping made an okay gesture. It will be delivered in an hour. I remember Mr. Yamada's schedule, and he should be having dinner with you tonight. At that time, I will need your help to get these characteristics from Mr. Yamada. Leave it to me. Lu Xinan said as he pulled up his hair. It's not difficult to deal with an old man, I will do my best. But it's a bit difficult to get 10 biological scanning security locks. Cho Ao rubbed his chin. Once you enter the scanning area, all the information will be scanned within a second and then uploaded. But at the same time, if you pass these scans within a second, you won't be able to trigger the security lock, right? Li Fan asked. Impossible, humans don't have this kind of reaction speed. Cho Ao shook his head. It's impossible to pass through a 5-meter-long scanning distance in a second. Leave this to me, I'll handle it. Li Fan said that he could challenge a distance of 5 meters in a second. You have to think it through. Once you fail, you will be locked inside. At that time, I will definitely not admit my relationship with you. Lu Xinan said first, you will probably be locked up in the prison of the island for the rest of your life. It doesn't matter. Without 3/3, how would I dare to go to Liangshan? Li Fan laughed. Since I dare to accept it, I have already made my plans. As for the other matters, I'll leave it to you guys to handle. All right, then from 7 o'clock sharp, all of us will move out. Qi Zeping made the arrangements. I will be in charge of the overall situation here, Cho Ao will be in charge of preparing to take over their network, and Gao Hongli will be in charge of changing the smart chip in the house. The Long brothers will be in charge of attracting their attention. When the eldest miss gets the biological signature, she will hand it over to Li Fan. After that, we still need the eldest miss to help us stall for some time, is that okay? No problem. I have a question. Li Fan interrupted their conversation. Who will protect Lu Xinan while I'm retrieving the national treasure? Don't worry, tonight is an important banquet. Lu Xinan gave them a reassuring pill. It is said that even the people from the royal family of the island will be here tonight, which is very important to old man Yamada. He cares about his face the most in his life. If something happens at this time, I'm afraid he will have to commit suicide to apologize. That's good. Only then did Li Fan feel relieved. I didn't know that you still care about me. No, I'm worried about losing that 120,000. Li Fan said honestly. Go to hell. Lu Xinan got angry again. She really couldn't be happy with this person for a day. Oh right, the escort agency you mentioned earlier, what's going on? Li Fan waited for Qi Zeping and the rest to get busy before immediately asking. China's escort agency specializes in smuggling goods. Lu Xinan gave Li Fan a meaningful look. If you really want to earn a lot of money, I suggest you and Guan Wenbao rebuild the escort agency. With the two of your abilities, you should be able to do it well. I've known you for so long, this is the first time you've spoken like a human. Li Fan sighed with emotion, angering Lu Xinan to glare at him. What do you mean by this, Li Fan? Are you looking for a quarrel? Look at you, losing your temper after 2 sentences. We're a team now, so we need to be united. We need to think the same way and work towards the same goal. You're not a child anymore, why do you always make me worry about you? Li Fan, why don't you go to hell? Lu Xinan felt that as long as Li Fan didn't die, she wouldn't be able to be at ease. But if he died, it would be a bit meaningless. Because I'm a good person, good people have a peaceful life. I can't be bothered with you, I'm going to put on makeup. Chapter 146. It was indeed a very important banquet. Even a bodyguard like Li Fan could only stand outside the hall, closing his eyes to rest while waiting for Lu Xinan to start the mission. According to the agreement, he would wait at the entrance of the banquet. Once everything was ready, he would immediately set off. At this time, Lu Xinan had already been inside for more than an hour. Although Li Fan was patient, time was of the essence. It was more important to get the national treasure as soon as possible. Otherwise, a long night would bring trouble. And if he missed this opportunity, it would be even more difficult to wait for the next one. Surveillance equipment switch complete. Cho Ao's voice came from the earpiece. Wait for the next round of mission instructions. Everyone stay where you are. We'll wait for Miss to obtain the biological characteristics. Li Fan looked at the time. It was already past 9 o'clock. If Lu Shinan didn't come out now, there might not be enough time. He wanted to rush into the hall, personally grab Old Man Yamada's head, and push him into the treasure vault to pass the inspection. But Li Fan knew that this was unlikely. After all, there were many experts in this house, and it was said that the treasure vault even had a self-destruct mechanism. Once it was activated, all the treasures would turn into ashes in an instant. Old Man Yamada would rather die with the treasures than return them to the Chinese. This was Lu Shinan's evaluation of him. Li Fan waited patiently for a while longer. The door to the hall was finally pushed open. Lu Shinan walked out drunk and leaned into Li Fan's arms. Li Fan, have a drink with me? Lu Shinan hooked Li Fan's chin with one finger and looked at him flirtatiously. Snake woman, you've drunk too much. Li Fan gently pushed Lu Shinan away. Her body reeked of perfume and alcohol. The smell was chaotic, but it had a fatal attraction. Don't look down on me. Lu Shinan leaned on Li Fan's body softly. I won't get drunk even after 1,000 drinks. As she spoke, she took off her black-rimmed glasses and stuffed them into Li Fan's chest pocket. Keep it safe for me. Give it back to me tonight. These were smart glasses provided by Cho Ao. They could collect information about the other party's cornea, voice, and even fingerprints. In this day and age where technology was advancing by leaps and bounds, none of this was difficult. There was a smart chip on the glasses that was connected to Cho Ao's network. Yamada, that old pervert, he even wanted to take the opportunity to touch this lady's thigh. Lu Shinan lowered her voice and whispered into Li Fan's ear, this old man, why doesn't he take a piss and look at himself? You're old enough to be a grandfather, yet you're still so shameless. No matter how old a man is, he likes young women. Li Fan chuckled. Especially the old men of the island, they like lolas with no chest like you the most. Sometimes, I really want to tear your mouth. Lu Shinan breathed out the smell of alcohol and angrily looked at Li Fan. Li Fan, Li Fan, if you were like Guan Wenbao, obediently be a loyal dog by my side, how good would that be? Li Fan was about to refute, but she sighed again. But that way it doesn't seem to have any pleasure. Training you, who are full of wild nature, is the most fun. Li Fan was ready to properly criticize and educate Lu Shinan. She actually compared him to a dog, and this time she compared him to a wild dog. That's enough. But Lu Shinan gently pushed Li Fan away. I should go back? Li Fan, I'll leave the national treasure to you. Why do people like you care so much about the national treasure? In order to hand it over to the country. Lu Shinan winked at Li Fan. Li Fan curled his lips. Only a ghost would believe it. She swayed her perky buttocks that were wrapped in a black evening gown and swayed her slender waist as she walked into the hall. She did not have much time to fight for, so Li Fan had to make the best use of his time. Li Fan immediately left the banquet hall and returned to the courtyard of Yamada's house. Old Man Yamada's bedroom was in that ancient castle-like place. Li Fan walked to the corner and took off his suit jacket. Inside was a black hoodie. Li Fan pulled the hat over his head and put on the smart glasses. The surface of the smart glasses immediately turned black, but the light outside was still normal. At the same time, he also put on a black mask, trying his best to hide his appearance, not letting outsiders know his true identity. Li Fan took advantage of the night and silently sneaked into the castle. A bright moon hung at the top of the castle, making the castle look like a devil's city. There were several teams of bodyguards patrolling the lawn. Li Fan grabbed the surrounding bushes and hid back and forth, avoiding the patrol team's search. After all, this was Old Man Yamada's residence. The patrol team's protection was very cautious. Li Fan observed for a while, and there was almost no blind spot that he could enter. However, this was not a problem for Li Fan. He picked up a stone from the ground and threw it directly into the bushes at the side. The bushes shook, and the sound of the stone falling immediately attracted the attention of all the bodyguards. Taking advantage of this time, Li Fan used the ape's movement technique and instantly jumped out. Ape attack technique, spirit monkey escape. This move was to make use of the time difference, making use of the other party's temporary shift of sight to perform a short displacement. Li Fan quickly arrived at the bottom of the castle. When the bodyguards retracted their sight, he had already jumped easily and nimbly landed on the balcony of the second floor. Then he escaped into the room. Old man Yamada lived alone in such a big house. It was very spacious inside, and there seemed to be no human presence. Li Fan felt a little strange. This old man lived in such a place by himself. Why didn't he feel afraid? The layout of the entire room was also very uncomfortable. Regardless of whether it was the room or the corridor outside, there were portraits full of the smell of blood hanging on the side. Moreover, on this dark night, where the moonlight couldn't shine in, it made one's hair stand on end. If it wasn't for Li Fan's night vision, he would really have to retreat here. This is really a place that perverts like to live. According to the map, Li Fan stepped on the wooden stairs and went to Old Man Yamada's bedroom. If an ordinary person stepped on this kind of wooden stairs, there would definitely be a creaking sound. However, when Li Fan stepped on it, he was like a cat. He silently and lightly arrived at the fourth floor. Wherever he walked, the camera automatically entered a paused state. Cho Ao's operation was seamless, and the security guards in the monitoring room didn't notice anything strange. Li Fan walked into the bedroom and looked at the antique bedroom. He was still muttering in his heart. He was originally an ordinary high school student. He didn't expect that one day he would actually embark on the path of treasure theft. Li Fan, you must work hard. Don't make any mistakes at such an important moment. Chapter 147. Li Fan took 2 deep breaths to calm himself down. He looked at the strange scrolls around him and began to mutter in his heart. Wouldn't people who lived in such a place all year round become perverted? Li Fan looked around. His smart glasses began to scan and analyze the scenery in the room. Cho Ao analyzed every scene and finally locked onto a book on the bookshelf. Li Fan followed Cho Ao's instructions and walked over. He stretched out his hand and pulled on the book. Boom! A trembling sound was heard. The opposite wall slowly opened and a high-tech elevator appeared in front of him. However, opening the door of the elevator required a cornea scan. Li Fan was already prepared. He walked forward and scanned his glasses with a laser. The cornea of the old man Yamada was perfectly imitated by the smart glasses. The door of the elevator was deceived by the fake cornea and was authorized to open slowly. Okay, the first step is passed. Cho Ao's voice was very calm as if he had already expected it. Next is the second step. Go 10 meters underground and pass the scan of the security door. Got it. Li Fan took the elevator all the way to the legendary treasury. There was only one corridor leading to the opposite side of the treasury. There were red lights in the corridor. Every 10 meters, there was a section that monitored the long corridor. Just as Cho Ao said, the scanning range of each section was 5 meters. He had to pass through one of the scanners within a second. The smart glasses marked the distance of each section for Li Fan's judgment. If he failed, the elevator would close and this place would be completely sealed. He had nowhere to escape. Whether this treasury would become his prison would depend on Li Fan's ability. He stood in front of a section of the scanning section and placed his hands on his dantian. A breath of true chi was raised. The most explosive form, Toad Strike. Li Fan's body lay on the ground. At this moment, the surrounding air seemed to be sucked in by Li Fan. He seemed to be able to sense the flow of air around him. At that moment, the flow of air slowed down. Cho Ao and Chi Zepping looked at Li Fan's line of sight through the smart glasses. They realized that Li Fan was sprawled on the ground and felt a little strange. What was Li Fan doing? Why is he lying on the ground? Did he give up? The two of them couldn't figure it out. Suddenly, Lu Shinan's anxious voice came through the earpiece. Get Li Fan to come back quickly. Old man Yamada suddenly went back. Li Fan, come back quickly. The mission has been abandoned. Chi Zepping immediately gave the order. I'll do it as soon as possible. At this moment, Li Fan had entered the realm of a true martial artist. The world in his eyes became incomparably quiet, and the distance of 5 meters became several times clearer in his eyes. If he did not succeed, he would die. Li Fan, believe in yourself, you can do it. The vital energy in his body suddenly exploded. His arms and legs suddenly bounced, and his whole body was like a cannonball, rushing out in the blink of an eye. The two people in front of the video exclaimed. The camera was zooming in so quickly. This terrifying speed. Just what method is he using to move forward? Oh no, he's going to rush over. In less than a second, Li Fan had already jumped a distance of 5 meters. But he didn't stop. If he moved forward a little more, he would enter the next area. At that time, he wouldn't even have the time to accumulate energy to jump, and he would be captured by the next detector. But at this moment, Li Fan's hands suddenly grabbed the ground, and he forcefully changed into the state of Tiger Strike. His fingers grabbed the ground, and he stabilized his body. He dangerously stopped less than half a meter away from the next detector, and let out a long sigh of relief. I found the feeling. Li Fan had done something that ordinary people couldn't do. To a martial artist, it was to break through the limits of the body and challenge all kinds of impossible things. Li Fan prepared for a moment, and with Toad Strike as the lead, he once again jumped over the second scanning area. He was glad that no one saw him like this. It was a bit like a frog crossing a river. But after jumping twice, Li Fan also had a feeling. His body became lighter, and his control of his vital energy became better. Every time Li Fan jumped, he didn't need to accumulate energy. With a leap, he would jump out and land 5 meters away. With another leap, he jumped to the wall 5 meters away. He stayed on it for less than a second, and then jumped to the next position on the ceiling. Chi Zepping and Cho Ao were dazzled in front of the camera. Where did this Li Fan come from? He completely violated the laws of physics. This person, is he really human? Cho Ao didn't understand, but Chi Zepping frowned and said, I heard that he's a Chinese martial artist, and he practices Qigong or something. Qigong? How can such an unscientific thing exist? Cho Ao was a person who believed in science. He wouldn't believe in pseudoscience like Qigong. There must be a mistake somewhere. I heard that the US Pentagon is currently developing a combat suit for adults. I heard that after wearing it, it can greatly increase the strength of the human body. This youth called Li Fan might have made such a combat suit. That thing must be expensive. Can he get it? This explanation is more scientific. While the two of them were still guessing, Li Fan had already passed through the detection area with a series of unusual frog jumps, and arrived in front of the last door. This was the last layer of protection, and this door was voice-activated. Hello, Mr. Yamada. The voice-activated system on the door spoke. This smart glasses processed Li Fan's voice, and his voice became the same as Yamada's. Welcome, Mr. Yamada. The door opened to Li Fan, and a huge underground treasury appeared in front of Li Fan. This underground treasury was built to be very big, like a pagoda. Layer after layer, it was filled with all kinds of antiques and even books, paintings, and so on. All of them were authentic and worth a lot. Li Fan even saw a legendary demon blade here, the Muramasa. This place is simply a treasure house of human civilization. Chi Zepping looked at everything here, and the knowledgeable him couldn't help but exclaimed, this place can be opened as a museum. Cho Ao also exclaimed, this place is simply a place that can only be seen in a dream. What are you guys still doing here? Lu Shinan had already ran back, holding a pair of high heels in her hand, and her hair was disheveled, and she seemed to be in a hurry. Quickly get Li Fan out. Chapter 148. Get Li Fan out now. Lu Shinan urged. Old man Yamada has already gone back. He's in a hurry, but I don't know why. Did the plan get leaked, or was it detected from the surveillance? That shouldn't be the case. There's nothing wrong with the surveillance, and the internet is under our control. Chi Zepping ruled out this possibility. Unless old man Yamada has some special anti-theft system, and when Li Fan entered the vault, he was notified outside of the network. If that's the case, Li Fan, hurry up and come out. Lu Shinan urged Li Fan. Or else it'll be too late. There's only this one chance. Li Fan's voice was steady. If I miss it, there won't be another chance. I must get the Imperial Jade Seal out. Since he was already here, Li Fan would not give up. He gave up on observing the other treasures and focused on looking for the Imperial Jade Seal made of black jade. Li Fan took 2 steps forward. In front of him were several rows of sculptures of girls. These sculptures looked very lifelike. They were about 13 or 14 years old, and their expressions were very lifelike. It should be the work of a master. And they're all naked. That old man Yamada is really a pervert. Li Fan curled his lips. Cho Ao, who was analyzing the data through the smart glasses, suddenly exclaimed. No, they're not sculptures. What do you mean? Li Fan asked subconsciously. Cho Ao continued. From the analysis of the data, these carvings have human cell reactions. You mean, they're all living people? Of course they're all living people. The voice that answered Li Fan came from behind. Li Fan turned around and saw old man Yamada standing behind him with a smile on his face. These adorable little angels will grow up one day. It hurts me to think that they won't be beautiful and pure in the future. So, I thought of this method to let them maintain their most beautiful appearance forever. Bastard! These girls were still too young, yet Yamada geezer could be so ruthless. It was simply sensational. Young man, you won't be able to understand the pursuit of beauty. If that's the case, then you can go to hell to accompany these girls. Yamada seemed to have guessed Li Fan's identity and had been speaking to him in Mandarin. Without any hesitation, Li Fan stepped forward to kill Yamada. Li Fan's figure swept away like a cool breeze, leaving behind an afterimage. His body suddenly hit the glass wall in front of him and stopped abruptly. The glass wall couldn't be seen at all. He didn't know when it appeared and blocked Li Fan's path. You think you're invincible, but you don't know that you're just a frog at the bottom of a well. Old man Yamada stood behind the glass wall and sneered at him. Little Chinese martial artist, do you really think you're the savior of the world? Today, I'll let you know what's called the immensity of heaven and earth. As he spoke, a green gas was released from the vent at the side, enveloping the treasury. Damn it, it's poisonous gas. Cho Ao analyzed this gas and finally became nervous. Damn it. Damn it. Lu Shinan was somewhat agitated. This bastard, I told him to retreat, but he refused to listen. While Li Fan was in this green gas, it made Li Fan feel dizzy. He felt his consciousness becoming more and more blurry and his head becoming heavier and heavier. Li Fan, Li Fan. Lu Shinan used the walkie-talkie to shout, trying to wake Li Fan up. But Li Fan only has a pure yang body. Although his cultivation is fast, he can't be immune to poison. These poisons have a very obvious effect on him. Li Fan didn't hold on for long before his eyes turned black. Lu Shinan's voice calling him seemed to be very far away, but also seemed to be very close to him. Li Fan felt as if he was floating, as if he had arrived at the clouds. The clouds were surrounded by beautiful fairies, revolving around him. Am I in heaven? I'm still young, I haven't even realized my ambition, and I'm already dead? Li Fan was somewhat vexed, but these emotions seemed to be very far away from him, and he couldn't even touch them. It was like these fairies in front of him seemed to be right in front of him, and he could reach out and touch them. But after reaching out and touching their bodies, he didn't feel anything at all. Looks like I'm really dead. AI, it's a pity that I was still a virgin before I died. Forget it, being able to see these fairies is also good. If I can touch them, it would be even better. Without waiting for Li Fan to sigh, his body suddenly sank, and he fell from this heaven, like an angel falling to the mortal world. He suddenly fell, and when he woke up again, he was back in the treasure vault. The surrounding green smoke dissipated, and Li Fan saw that his body was naked. His hands and feet were handcuffed, and he was chained to a wooden plank-like torture device. This seemed to be one of old man Yamada's perverted collections, and it made Li Fan unable to move. And old man Yamada was sitting in front of him, and beside him were a few beautiful girls of similar age. Each of them was also naked, and they were serving old man Yamada, making old man Yamada's face full of satisfaction. These beautiful girls' necks were tied with chains, and their butts were stuffed with tails. They didn't look like little angels at all, and were clearly being reared like livestock. Old pervert, you sure are enjoying yourself. The signal here seemed to be blocked, and Li Fan's rice grain earphones couldn't receive any information. Even his smart glasses didn't work. I've worked hard my whole life to build this empire and family, why can't I enjoy myself? Yamada stretched out his right hand and stroked the head of a female pet. I'm destined to change everything. If you want to go against me, you're going against the master of the future world. The master of the future world? Just by you? Li Fan laughed. I'm afraid it won't be long before you die. You're already so old, but you still have so many ideas. I won't die. I'm the chosen one. It was the Amaterasu god who gave me this life. I won't die so easily. A line popped up in Li Fan's mind. I won't die so easily. Li Fan, you're Lu Xinan's subordinate. Your kung fu isn't bad, I admire it. Yamada suddenly changed the topic and suddenly extended an olive branch to Li Fan. If you follow that little girl, you won't have any development. As the saying goes, a fine bird chooses a good tree to nest in. What you mean by that is, you want me to jump ship. Li Fan made it clear. That's right, that's exactly what I mean. Yamada nodded. This is your only chance, and my gift to you. Chapter 149. Yamada's meaning was very clear. 2 paths, follow him or die. Follow me, then you can enjoy true happiness. Yamada said and clapped his hands. A beautiful girl with a fox's tail on her but crawled in front of Li Fan. Her eyes were a little dull as she used her small mouth to suck Li Fan's family jewels. Fuck, Li Fan's heart trembled. What the hell is this? Using the capitalist sugar-coated bullets to attack my proletariat's strong heart? I grew up under the red flag and was born in the new society as a people's soldier. Such a small trick can't conquer me. I can't lick their... Li Fan was really on the verge of collapsing. He didn't expect that old man Yamada would play this trick. For a man, this kind of trick was really torturous. Whatever chili water or tiger stool, as long as a man had a bit of backbone, he could basically withstand it. But when it came to beauty, it was really hard to say. Lust was like a knife above the head. Even if Li Fan's heart was firm, his body's reaction at this moment couldn't lie. Especially since he was still a virgin. This kind of feeling that he had never experienced before made him have some uncontrollable greed. Li Fan, follow me, you can also enjoy these. It seemed that a beautiful girl had hurt him. Yamada pulled out a tachi and chopped off the beautiful girl's head. The beautiful girl's head rolled to Li Fan's feet. Her beautiful eyes were still open, and they were still so dull. The other beautiful girls didn't seem to feel anything as they continued to serve Yamada. Li Fan looked at the beautiful girl's head and was shocked. The woman under him didn't feel anything and continued to lick Li Fan, but Li Fan didn't feel any pleasure. His heart was filled with that woman's eyes before she died. Empty and powerless, as if her soul had long left this world. Li Fan's back was full of cold sweat, and his hair was trembling. He wasn't afraid of the dead, but this woman's gaze seemed to pierce through his soul. In Li Fan's eyes, such empty eyes seemed to be saying a few words. Help me. Stupid women can never become cute little angels. Old man Yamada wiped the blood off his katana. This kind of woman can only be cleansed with fresh blood. What a beast! Li Fan looked at him angrily. After you die, you will definitely go to hell. Are you rejecting me? Yamada looked at Li Fan curiously. What a strange persistence. What's so good about that woman, Lu Xinan, that you're willing to sacrifice your life for her? That's where you're wrong. Li Fan mocked. This has nothing to do with Lu Xinan at all. It's just that you're asking for a beating. Since that's the case, foolish Chinese. Old man Yamada's face darkened. Looks like I overestimated your intelligence. You Chinese always like to fight among yourselves. The Lu family is only being used by me. Now that I have a better partner, the other party's condition is to take Lu Xinan's life. If she dies, none of you will be able to escape. Japanese, you're looking down on us Chinese. Li Fan snorted. Although I don't like that woman, I hate animals like you even more. Too stupid. Old man Yamada sighed. Since you don't want to live, then die. With that, Old man Yamada picked up a gun and pointed it at Li Fan's chest. Since you can't be used by me, then I'll destroy you. The gun was pointed at Li Fan. To be honest, Li Fan was really nervous at that moment. It was impossible to say that a person wasn't afraid of death. In this world, who wasn't afraid of death? Especially since Li Fan was still young. His future was limitless. It was impossible for him to not be afraid of a gun pointed at him. But even if he was afraid, he couldn't admit defeat. He had to think of a way. Li Fan's dantian qi was raised by him, and then he suddenly let out a loud shout. Fierce tiger roar. This loud roar resounded throughout the entire treasury. At this moment, everyone's ears buzzed. For a moment, they were in a daze. Old man Yamada's gun tilted and the bullet was shot at the top of Li Fan's head. Li Fan's world suddenly slowed down. This was an extraordinary feeling that he had when he was in a difficult situation. The bullet's trajectory slowed down infinitely in his eyes. It was like a slow-motion scene in a movie. The qi in his body seemed to have rushed out of his body and was released outside of his body. His qi was like an extension of himself. It caught the bullet and wrapped it into a ball. Li Fan felt that this technique of using qi to control an object was not like his seven-gallant fist. Even if it was the toad strike technique, there was no way to make true qi so flexible. This qi circulation technique was more like the minor phaseless divine art. Li Baihu's minor phaseless divine art was to spread qi outside of his body. It formed an invisible layer of astral energy and strengthened his body's defense. It was probably because he had absorbed a portion of the minor phaseless god technique that he had inherited some of its abilities. Who would have thought that this ability would actually save his life at a crucial moment? The bullet was wrapped by Li Fan's qi. It changed the direction of the bullet and finally hit the handcuff on Li Fan's right hand. Bang! The handcuff on the right hand was broken by the bullet. Li Fan immediately raised his right hand and grabbed the left handcuff and twisted it. Snap! The left handcuff was broken by him. Li Fan bent down and broke the handcuff on his foot. Now it's my time. Li Fan clenched his fist and sneered at Yamada, whose eyes were filled with shock. Didn't you enjoy torturing me earlier? Li Fan's eyes flashed with killing intent. In China, there is a saying, the gods are watching. Yamada, you have done so many crazy things. Aren't you afraid of retribution? I am the person chosen by Amaterasu God. How can there be retribution? Yamada did not seem to be aware of it. He continued to arrogantly say, I, Yamada Kazuo, am different from the masses. These women, they were able to receive my favor and be transformed into eternal angels. It is their honor. Honor, what the hell are you cursing? Li Fan couldn't help but curse. You're just a twisted pervert, don't pretend to be a fool here. Today, young master will take care of you scum. With that, Li Fan's naked body suddenly jumped up and sent a palm towards old man Yamada. Those beautiful girls stared blankly at the side, but Yamada Geezer raised one of his hands and blocked Li Fan's slap. Chapter 150. Although this woman was also from the island, they were, after all, living beings. Li Fan would definitely not harm the innocent, nor could he bear to do so. This is the difference between him and the old man Yamada. Just as Li Fan's palm was about to touch the beautiful girl's forehead, he forcefully stopped. But at this time, a fist pierced through the beautiful girl's chest and hit Li Fan's body. Puff! Li Fan spat out a mouthful of blood as his body flew out, heavily crashing into the wall behind him, and then fell to the ground. The strength of this blow was really not light. Li Fan felt as if all the bones in his body had been broken. This old thing, he hit it so deeply. He is definitely an inner force expert. It's been a long time since I've exercised my muscles and bones. I didn't expect that I would still have some strength. The old man Yamada pulled out his blood-stained hand from the girl's chest, and then, like throwing away trash, he casually threw the girl to the side. Sheena. When I was working with the Liu family, I never called them that. After all, they are partners, so I have to give them some face. The old man Yamada looked at Li Fan, who was lying there. To be honest, I still like this country, Shina. 1,000 years ago, Shina was still a powerful country. But now, Shina has already declined, and cannot be compared to my great Japan kingdom. You may say that I look down on you, but everyone is the same, and has always been hostile to each other. Just like inner force, I'm afraid you never thought that I would also be a martial artist. Old man, wait a minute, don't you have the slightest bit of pity in your heart? Looking at the girl lying in a pool of blood, Li Fan could not help but be enraged. This old man Yamada is an out-and-out beast. He can even be so cruel to his own compatriots. And in front of outsiders, he still has to pretend to be kind. She's just an ant, why should I pity her? Yamada said disdainfully, when I return, I will add her heart and make it into an angel sculpture. Then she can stay by my side forever. What a fucking old pervert. Li Fan cursed. Today, I will punish you on behalf of God. With your mediocre martial arts? Yamada chuckled. Shina boy, don't underestimate our country's martial arts world. As he spoke, his originally thin and weak body suddenly began to show chunks of muscles, as if they were being blown up. Now, only his face could tell that he was an old man. Just by looking at his body, one would think that he was a strong young man. Your Chinese martial arts have declined, but it is flourishing in my Japan. Old man Yamada boasted shamelessly, my country's martial arts is the true orthodox martial arts. This is what I have learned all my life, Vajra Fist. I have already reached the peak of perfection and possess the strength of 9 bulls and 2 dragons. How can you defeat me? Even if you are the king of heaven, young master will defeat you today. While Li Fan was talking to Yamada, he was still adjusting his internal energy. Yamada's punch just now did indeed injure him, but it was still within a controllable range. Truly foolish. You have been hit by my Vajra subduing demon fist. Your internal organs have already been destroyed by me. I'm afraid you won't be able to live for long. Even if you can survive, you will have to rely on a wheelchair for the rest of your life. Old man Yamada was very confident. His Vajra subduing demon fist was extremely destructive. A small Chinese martial artist, he did not even put him in his eyes. Let me end your last breath. Old man Yamada said as he walked over step by step. Standing tall in front of Li Fan, he extended his fist and aimed it at his head. The old man Yamada's fist smashed down, preparing to kill in one blow. But at this time, Li Fan suddenly raised his right fist and blocked old man Yamada's fist. The two people's chis collided. Because old man Yamada was careless, he did not use his full strength and was actually blocked by Li Fan's attack. Just as he was about to withdraw his fist and give Li Fan another punch, the corner of Li Fan's mouth raised. Dragon Toad Ingestion. Although she had promised Guan Wenbao that she would never use such a crazy move again. But against a scum like Yamada, there was no need to talk about humanitarian. At the place where their fists met, Li Fan's energy suddenly began to flow backward. Like a black hole, it instantly began to absorb the true energy from old man Yamada's body. Nanny? Even Yamada's expression changed at this moment. He lost his previous arrogant look. His originally strong muscles began to wither bit by bit. Just as Li Fan expected, these muscles were forcibly created by his true energy. But Yamada knew that if this continued, the true energy in his body would be sucked dry. But his inner force was strong. How could a person like Li Wenjue be compared to him? He actually forcefully broke the true energy link with Li Fan and retreated 3 steps. His expression was very ugly. What kind of evil technique is this? Yamada was very shocked. He looked at Li Fan's face as if he was looking at a demon god. A technique that specializes in dealing with scum. Li Fan had absorbed some of the King Kong devil force. Although he still needed time to refine it, he had temporarily weakened Yamada. This was his goal. This old man's strength was actually at the peak of perfection. It was indeed out of Li Fan's expectations. But no matter how strong he was, when faced with Dragon Toad Ingestion, he had to obediently admit defeat. Interesting technique. Unexpectedly, old man Yamada suddenly became excited. It was the Amaterasu god who sent you to me. If I absorb other people's true energy, my body might be able to maintain eternal youth and become immortal. Dream on. Why don't you ascend to the heavens? Li Fan rolled his eyes. Wanting to learn his dragon toad ingestion, he must have the talent to do so. Without a pure yang body, how can he learn dragon toad ingestion? You have committed all sorts of evil deeds. Your crimes are heinous and you still want to live forever. The heavens are watching what you do. I was not sent here by your god to help you. I am here to send you to hell. As Li Fan spoke, he took a deep breath and entered the state of the bear strike. Bear army. Li Fan's body started to swell, becoming even more majestic and mighty. At the same time, the King Kong devil force that he had absorbed into his body seemed to be very compatible and fused into Li Fan's bear cavalry strength. A layer of black light appeared on his skin. Ah, my King Kong devil force. Old man Yamada subconsciously became angry. This was a technique that he had trained for tens of years. It was actually so easily taken away by the other party. I will turn you into a human tree and think of a way to steal all the true energy from your body. Yamada's eyes were filled with greed as he once again gathered his true energy. Chapter 151. Yamada had lost at least 10 tigers' worth of strength because Li Fan had absorbed a portion of his strength. Although it was only for a few seconds, he had lost at least 10 tigers' worth of strength. Although he could slowly cultivate it back in the future, he was unable to completely suppress Li Fan in a short period of time. Li Fan also felt the changes brought about by the bear cavalry soldier. When he entered this state, his strength seemed to be even more explosive and destructive. Since that was the case, he would use this move to deal with Yamada. So what if I've plundered a bit of strength? I'm the god's chosen warrior. As he spoke, Yamada's body suddenly swelled up. His muscles bulged again, but they were obviously not as robust as before. Right now, Yamada was only left with the strength of 9 tigers. He was still confident that he could get rid of Li Fan, who had the strength of 5 tigers. I've trained hard for more than 40 years. How can a little kid like you defeat me? I've absorbed the strength of 10 tigers and refined it into my body. Although it's only 1 tiger, it's enough to beat you, who's worse than a beast. As Li Fan spoke, he clenched his fists and made cracking sounds. 9 tigers against 6 tigers. It might seem like Li Fan was at a disadvantage, but he was full of confidence. If he couldn't even beat a scum, what was the point of practicing martial arts? Kid from China. At this time, Yamada had completely abandoned his hypocritical face and completely replaced it with a ferocious face. He raised his fist and punched at Li Fan. Vajra Demon subduing first style. This fist went straight for Li Fan's chest, but Li Fan used his own chest to receive this punch. Bang! Chi burst out from behind Li Fan. Blood flowed out of his mouth. But at the same time, he raised his palm and slapped Yamada's chin from the bottom up. Boom! Yamada's body flew high into the air and smashed into the ceiling. Then he fell to the ground. Li Fan caught the falling Yamada and did a beautiful shoulder throw, smashing him to the ground. Ding! The ground shook heavily. Yamada's body was smashed to the ground. However, he quickly leaped up and dodged Li Fan's attack. A deep footprint was left on the ground, shocking Yamada to see. If that kick had landed on his body, he would have lost half his life. Damn it! Yamada turned around and punched Li Fan's body. Li Fan once again used his own body to receive the punches. At the same time, he grabbed Yamada's body and lifted him up. Bear King raises the cauldron. This move was Li Fan's unique skill. Li Fan's entire body's strength was gathered in his hands. This move was called tearing the devil with bare hands. His hands forcefully pulled Yamada's body, and it looked like he was about to tear Yamada's body into 2. However, Yamada was no fool. This old man was cunning and had already guessed Li Fan's intentions. He hurriedly spread his true chi all over his body, strengthening his physical defense. Li Fan did not manage to tear Yamada's body apart, but he still managed to tear off one of his arms. Fresh blood poured down like rain. Accompanied by Yamada's scream, that arm was thrown to the side. Yamada's body rolled in the air, fell to the ground, and curled up into a ball. He held his broken arm and poked it a few times to stop the bleeding. His face was full of shock and anger. He did not expect that he would suffer such a big loss at the hands of Li Fan. Baka! He could not help but curse. Li Fan was obviously a young Chinese martial artist, and his strength was not as good as him. Why did he suffer such a big loss at the hands of Li Fan? After losing an arm, Yamada's strength was greatly reduced. He was no longer able to deal with Li Fan. His body also began to shake off, and he returned to the appearance of an ordinary old man. Yamada Kazuo, your end is here. Li Fan's body was also turbulent. Just now, he relied on his own body to take 2 blows. That feeling was really not good. However, the effect was indeed obvious. Relying on the advantage of the pure yang body's quick recovery, he was able to beat Yamada Kazuo, who was 1 level higher than him, down. Li Fan looked left and right, then stretched out his hand and pulled out the demon blade Muramasa. This blade is suitable for beheading a dog head. Don't kill me. Spare my life. I am willing to guarantee you a lifetime of glory and splendor. Yamada Kazuo leaned on the chair next to him and said to Li Fan, I will fight for my life of glory and splendor myself. You don't have to worry about me. Li Fan smiled, and Yamada Kazuo quickly said, I can give you all my family property. Please don't kill me. I don't want to die. All of Yamada Kazuo's family property was not a small temptation. And this treasury, it will all be yours from now on. The wealth here is enough to rival a world museum. Yamada Kazuo saw that Li Fan seemed to be tempted, so he quickly added fuel to the fire. But at this moment, a beautiful girl with dull eyes suddenly moved. She reached out and pulled out a Mongolian knife from the knife rack next to her. Li Fan did not expect that such a delicate young girl could actually burst out such a powerful force with that small body. Shwa! The knife flashed. Yamada Kazuo's head flew high and rolled on the ground. This girl did not stop after killing Yamada Kazuo. Instead, she continued to walk over. One by one, she chopped off the heads of the other girls. Li Fan was very shocked. He stood there, unable to say a word as he watched this girl kill everyone. Ariadu. The girl looked at Li Fan and smiled sweetly at him. This smile seemed to be filled with relief and gratitude. She reached out and pressed a switch on the side. The door of the treasury slowly opened, and the passage to the outside was also opened. Why don't you escape with me? Li Fan did not know if this girl could understand Chinese, but he extended his hand to her. His intention was very clear. But the girl just smiled and took 2 steps back. She lifted the slightly warped Mongolian saber and placed it against her own neck. Then she gave it a tug. Blood splattered out and the long knife in the girl's hand fell to the ground. It was a little dazzling. Li Fan did not react for a long time. In the end, he sighed softly. Perhaps this was the only way for him to truly be free. Li Fan searched the treasury and found the heirloom Imperial Jade Seal in a black wooden box. This heirloom Imperial Jade Seal was made of black jade. There was a dragon coiled on it. It was vivid and lifelike. This was a priceless treasure. Li Fan did not dare to casually touch it for fear of accidentally breaking it. He carefully put the box away and found his clothes on the ground. In the room full of corpses, he calmly put his clothes back on. Chapter 152. When Li Fan walked out, there was no one else in Yamada Kazuo's bedroom. He stretched out his hand, twisted the bookshelf, and the door of the passage slowly closed. From now on, no one would be able to enter this treasury anymore. Let those endless treasures be buried with these pitiful girls. Li Fan had some regrets in his heart. If he had given one of the treasures to himself, he could have become a rich man. But it was not something he should take, so he didn't take it. Moreover, this place was very safe, and he had Yamada Kazuo's physical characteristics in his hands. If he wanted to get these treasures, he could come over at any time. This place would become his treasure house, but the only difficult thing was Lu Shinan. He had to find a way to make her give up this treasure house. Li Fan tidied up his shirt, put on his mask, and turned on the smart glasses Black Mirror mode. Then, under the cover of the night, he quietly hid in the darkness and disappeared from the castle. At this moment, Lu Xinan placed her mobile phone on the table. On the mobile phone was a silly photo of Li Fan, and next to the photo were candles, apples, pears, and so on. Lu Xinan stood in front, and the 5 members of Qi Zeping's team stood behind. Everyone looked sad and solemn, as if they were mourning for a martyr. Lu Xinan was still holding 3 cigarettes in her hand, and her eyes were full of regret as she said to Li Fan's photo. Li Fan, although we usually can't get along, you are after all a good person, a real man. Although you are a little ugly, have a bad temper, a bad character, no money, no height, and no taste. But after all, death is a big deal, so I won't talk about these shortcomings. In short, you are generally a good person. I hope you can go to heaven after death. Qi Zeping and the others at the back also sighed. I hope Brother Li Fan can have a good journey. You don't have to worry about your family, we will take care of them for you. But, eldest miss, are we really not going to save him? Cho Ao seemed to admire Li Fan a little. From the looks of it, he had even set up a morning hall. It was clear that he had abandoned Li Fan. Don't talk nonsense. Qi Zeping reprimanded Cho Ao, but his voice was not serious. Obviously, he felt sorry for Li Fan. After all, Li Fan had saved them twice. Sigh, I also want to save him, but unfortunately, I don't have the strength to do so. Lu Xinan was also very uncomfortable in her heart. Li Fan was dead. She always felt that she was missing something. But now is not the time to be impulsive. We are still in someone else's territory. When I return to China, I will think of a way to avenge Li Fan. Eldest miss, as long as you say the word, the 5 of us will immediately go and save him. Qi Zeping suddenly said, I will act as an individual and will definitely not drag the first miss down. If the 5 of you can rush in, why would I need to carefully arrange this plan? Lu Xinan frowned and looked at him. Qi Zeping, how can you say such words? Is this the time to be impulsive? The 5 of you don't even have weapons. Are you going to send yourself to death? Although I don't care about your lives, I am too lazy to cause trouble. Do you understand? Don't forget, you are my bodyguards, not mercenaries. Your mission is to protect me. Do you understand? Yes, eldest miss. Qi Zeping could only lower his head. Everything was decided by the employer. Eldest miss, then what do we do next? Qi Zeping could only ask. Let's return to China first. This was the only choice for Lu Xinan. If she wanted everyone to be safe, this was the only way. Li Fan, oh Li Fan, I am sorry, I can only give up on you. Lu Xinan, you abandon me. You will die a horrible death. At this moment, a familiar voice sounded in the room, echoing in everyone's ears. Hearing this voice, Lu Xinan was so scared that she almost fell to the ground. Qi Zeping and the others also frowned. I'm going to kill you. The voice became clearer and clearer, as if it was close to their ears. Lu Xinan thought of all kinds of horror movies and had the urge to pee again. She knelt on the ground and did not even have the strength to escape. Who's playing tricks? Come out quickly. Qi Zeping pulled out his baton and looked around vigilantly. He did not believe in ghosts. It was definitely someone playing tricks. I am Li Fan. Nonsense. Li Fan is already dead. Qi Zeping also swallowed his saliva, while Lu Xinan cried, Li Fan, I was wrong. I will definitely burn more paper money for you during the holidays, and burn some girls' photos for you. I will let you live happily in the underworld, hug girls on your left and right, and enjoy all the blessings that you can't enjoy in the human world. I only like you. I want you to come down to accompany me. I'm not good, my chest is very small, it doesn't feel good. I promise to burn 2 photos of girls with big breasts for you, please let me go. As the saying goes, if you don't do anything shameful, you won't be afraid of ghosts knocking at your door in the middle of the night. Nobody knew when Li Fan sat on the sofa, looking at Lu Xinan who was begging for mercy. Snake woman, you usually do too many shameful things, that's why you are so scared now. Lu Xinan saw Li Fan sitting there, fine, and slowly came to her senses. Are you a human or a ghost? Miss, he is a human. Qi Zeping carefully looked at Li Fan, and then looked surprised. This usually calm big guy, today's expression could be made into an emoji pack. You're actually fine. Of course, but I have to disappoint Miss Lu. Li Fan glanced at his own beer, and could not help but be amazed. To be able to see his own beer, I guess I'm the first person. Humph. Li Fan, you'd better die. You're still alive and only know how to scare me. Lu Xinan's legs really went soft after a long time. She barely got up by holding the table. If I knew this, I wouldn't have cared about you. It would be better if you died without a beer. I said, good people live a peaceful life. How can I die so easily? But, you came out. What about Yamada Kazuo? Lu Xinan seemed to think of something. That perverted old man will never come out. Li Fan sneered. To be able to let so many treasures accompany him, his death can be considered to be worthwhile. Lu Xinan and the others looked at each other. Yamada Kazuo just died? What about the Imperial Jade Seal? Where is it? Lu Xinan finally asked the question, but Li Fan hesitated. Chapter 153. Li Fan is indeed hesitant about whether he should give the Imperial Jade Seal to Lu Xinan or not. This is indeed a problem. Although Lu Xinan seems to be on the same side as him, this kind of thing is hard to say. The Imperial Jade Seal is a priceless treasure. If it is sold in the black market overseas, it can make a person rich overnight. That amount of money can definitely be used for several lifetimes. If Lu Xinan betrays him and sells the Imperial Jade Seal, then all his efforts would be in vain. Why? If I say that I didn't find it, you won't believe me. Li Fan sighs. After all, the Imperial Jade Seal is hanging on his waist. If he says that he doesn't have it, if Lu Xinan believes him, how low is her IQ? Are you afraid that I will sell it? Lu Xinan smiles. Li Fan, you look down on this lady too much. This lady is not short of money. This Imperial Jade Seal belongs to our ancestors. I will absolutely not give it to a foreigner. Then where are you going to send it? To the country? You take it. Lu Xinan says naturally, you can choose how to deal with it. As long as you don't sell it to a foreigner, I won't interfere. After all, this is something that you risked your life to get back. I, Lu Xinan, live in the underworld and I am righteous. These words are somewhat out of Li Fan's expectation. From Lu Xinan's mouth, she can actually say such righteous words? Unbelievable. Li Fan feels that he misheard. Are we going back now? However, since the other party wants to leave the Imperial Jade Seal with him, Li Fan doesn't say anything else. This treasure, he is going to give it to the country's museum. This thing doesn't belong to him. It belongs to all the Chinese descendants. However, how to return it to the country is a bit difficult. After all, this thing has an illegal origin. He needs to think of a proper excuse. We'll stay here tonight and fly back tomorrow morning. Lu Xinan said generously, after all, we haven't been exposed, and Yamada Kazuo died without anyone knowing. I'm afraid that it will take a few days for everyone to find out about his disappearance. Lu Xinan glanced at Qi Zeping and the others. After we return this time, your mission will be over. Nothing ever happened between us, right? Yes, we only protected the young miss for 2 days and 2 nights. Qi Zeping nodded. The reason why he could become an internationally renowned bodyguard master was inseparable from his professionalism. Lu Xinan ordered Qi Zeping and the others to remove the beer, and then returned to her room to take a shower. Li Fan was sitting on the sofa in the bedroom with his legs crossed. He was focused on refining the energy he had absorbed during the day. In the past, he had really underestimated this world. Who would have thought that he would actually meet an expert who had reached the peak of perfection in the island nation? If he did not have the dragon toad's absorption of water, this heaven-defying demonic attack, he would probably be finished this time. Murong-ing was right. Don't look down on the heroes of the world. There is always someone better than you in the world. Yamada Kazuo cultivates the Vajra demon's subduing power, which is a very overbearing and destructive energy. Li Fan merged this energy with the Bear Cavalry, allowing his 7 hero fist to advance a step further. Last time, Li Fan merged the lesser phaseless divine technique into the Toad Strike technique. In his 7-hero fist, only the Toad Strike technique is a technique that uses energy to attack. Although it is slightly different from the lesser phaseless divine technique, it is the same. Today, the lesser phaseless divine technique saved his life, leaving a deep impression on Li Fan. Can I use the Toad Strike technique to make better use of this energy? He sat on the sofa and slowly opened his eyes. The 4 balls of smoke above his head slowly dispersed. Li Fan felt the changes in his dantian. He silently entered the state of the Toad Strike technique. In this state, Li Fan could clearly feel the flow of his energy. The energy was like an extension of his body, allowing him to move it flexibly. Murong Ing said that there are 3 major difficulties in learning martial arts. They are abnormal bone changing, turning illusion into reality, and heart demon unification. My bear cavalry can achieve the effect of abnormal bone changing, then can the Toad Strike technique also achieve the realm of turning illusion into reality? Li Fan let the energy in his body flow quickly. The energy in his dantian rotated 3 times faster than usual. He opened his mouth and took in a mouthful of oxygen. To put it bluntly, energy is a powerful energy in the body. In order to mobilize this energy, you must have the assistance of oxygen. The more oxygen is provided, the more powerful the small motor that is the heart will beat, and the energy will naturally come out. The air in the room seemed to be sucked into Li Fan's mouth. He swallowed the oxygen into his abdomen and integrated it into his blood. At this moment, the energy also seemed to be boiling and became more energetic. Li Fan stretched out his hands and placed them in front of him. The energy exploded from his palms and fused in front of him, forming a ball of white energy. This ball of energy condensed into a ball, the size of a soccer ball. It constantly rotated between Li Fan's hands. The golden toad spitting pearl. This ball of energy was the chi pearl in Li Fan's hands. Li Fan slowly opened his hands, and the chi pearl became bigger and bigger, slowly becoming the size of a basketball. No, not enough. I can still go further. Li Fan tried to make the chi pearl bigger, but it seemed to have reached a limit. The chi pearl could only maintain the size of a basketball. He stretched out his hand, and the chi pearl flew out and floated in the air. It was like a bright white moon, illuminating the entire house. Li Fan looked at the bright moon formed by the chi pearl, and felt that the other party was like a part of his body. Turning illusory into reality, it seemed that he was still unable to make this ball of energy turn into a cherry blossom like Murong Ing. After all, he needed to reach a legendary realm in order to comprehend it. But could he change the shape of this chi pearl? Li Fan stretched out his hands, as if he was pinching the chi pearl out of thin air. The shape of this chi pearl was constantly changing, as if it was related to the state of Li Fan's cultivation. The chi pearl slowly turned into the shape of a toad. AI, why is it a toad? It's too ugly. Li Fan tried to improve it. The toad's body rolled, and finally turned into a tiger crawling on the ground. Sure enough, although he was unable to turn illusory into reality, Li Fan could change the shape of the chi pearl. This kind of true chi attack with shape was much more imposing than a ball of chi pearl. Just as Li Fan was trying to change the shape of the immortal crane, the bathroom door behind him suddenly opened. Li Fan was startled, and the ball of energy burst like a balloon. What is this? Magic? Lu Xinan stood there, smiling like a flower at Li Fan. Chapter 154. I can't believe you saw it. Li Fan sighs. Actually, I am the martial song star that descended from the heavens to settle the injustice in the mortal world. Before I descended to the mortal world, the Jade Emperor repeatedly exhorted me not to let mortals discover my identity. Once discovered, I must get rid of this mortal. AI, it seems like I can only kill you to silence you. As Li Fan speaks, he stretches out his right hand and aims his palm at Lu Xinan in front of him. He releases his chi and directly forms a ball that wraps around Lu Xinan's neck. Lu Xinan feels like someone is choking her neck. She has difficulty breathing and her face turns pale. Another discovery of Li Fan's was that true chi was infinitely useful. If he uses his qi to deal with ordinary people, it seems to be more effective. Lu Xinan struggles for a bit. Li Fan is just teasing her and suddenly loosens his right hand. You bastard? Cough cough. Cough. Lu Xinan is unable to breathe for a long time. She squats on the ground and coughs violently. Li Fan looks at his right hand. Just like what Li Wenjue had said, after he gained power, he is definitely an anomaly in the eyes of ordinary people. His every move can affect an ordinary person's life. As long as he has a thought, he can instantly pinch Lu Xinan to death. Li Fan did not want to make a move earlier. He just wanted to tease Lu Xinan. But for some reason, he suddenly stretches out his hand and grabs Lu Xinan's throat. At that moment, in his eyes, Lu Xinan is like an ant, extremely fragile. Heart Devil enters the body. Although this Toad Strike technique is powerful after fusing with small phaseless divine technique, it still needs to be resolved. You bastard! Are you going to kill me? Lu Xinan almost died. She still has lingering fear. Sorry. Just now I was a bit heavy. I just wanted to tease you. Li Fan was a little ashamed, but Lu Xinan had already caught her breath. You bastard! I can see that you did it on purpose. This miss hates you to death. How about I stand here and you beat me up to vent your anger? Li Fan placed his hands behind his back. I will never make a move. Humph, I don't want to dirty my hands by hitting you. Lu Xinan glared at Li Fan. You have to make it up to me. Compensation? What compensation do you want? Let me think. Lu Xinan rubbed her chin and glanced at Li Fan. Why don't you devote yourself to me? That won't do. Li Fan smiled. Even if you have such thoughts, I haven't. I seem to have a fiancé, so my heart will definitely not change. You bastard, can't I even throw myself at you? Which part of me can't? There are many people chasing after this miss. This miss has both looks and money. You don't have any chest. Go to hell. Lu Xinan's lungs were about to explode from anger, but she suddenly thought of something and said to Li Fan. Li Fan, you see, the two of us getting to know each other is fate, right? That's true, although it's an ill-fated fate. Humph. Lu Xinan was unhappy. Li Fan, this bastard, he didn't even throw himself at me. Is there something wrong with his brain, or is he purposely making things difficult for me? This big bastard. Li Fan, you will regret it sooner or later. Because of what you have said today. Lu Xinan said fiercely. This time, this rich young lady's self-esteem was really hurt. I won't. I am a person who will stick to my words. Li Fan said with certainty, I will never change. Since you're so heartless, then I only have one thing to ask of you. Lu Xinan suddenly sighed faintly. Anyway, after this mission, we basically won't contact each other anymore. Can you promise me one thing? What is it? Can you give me a farewell kiss? Lu Xinan was very sad. Although I hate you, you still saved me several times. I, Lu Xinan, am not an unethical person. Because of the contract, I can't give you more money. But a debt must be paid with my body. Can you let me kiss you? This. Li Fan was a bit surprised. He didn't expect Lu Xinan to come up with such an idea. Looking at her pleading eyes, Li Fan's heart softened a bit. This was the first time this rich young lady showed this kind of eyes. Her lips were a little red, and they were a little damp, carrying a tempting sense of guilt. Can I? A beautiful woman begging him like this, any man would find it hard to refuse. If it's just a kiss, it shouldn't be a problem. The fate between him and Lu Xinan, it would be good to end it with a kiss. Li Fan softened and nodded. Okay, but you have to be gentle. Lu Xinan walked forward, hooked her hands on Li Fan's shoulders, and then breathed into his ear. Li Fan, you must not forget me in the future. With that, Lu Xinan kissed Li Fan's lips. Although Lu Xinan's character wasn't good, her lips were soft and had a sweet taste. Li Fan muttered in his heart, is this considered as a clandestine love affair? That sweet feeling in his heart made Li Fan somewhat intoxicated. For a moment, his breathing was somewhat messed up. It was obviously not the first time they kissed, but why did he have this kind of feeling? Li Fan couldn't figure it out, but his eyes were getting darker and darker, and his eyelids seemed to be getting heavier. Li Fan wanted to cheer up, but he was powerless. Could it be? I have consumed too much of my true qi, and am too tired. But Li Fan saw the smile on Lu Xinan's lips. This woman. She did it on purpose. Damn it. Sure enough, heroes have a weakness for the charms of a beautiful woman. I have been on guard, but I actually forgot to guard against this move. Fine. You win. Li Fan only had time to say this sentence, and then completely fainted. He vaguely felt that he saw the black and white impermanence. The two of them put a rope around his neck, and took him to hell. In this hell, there was a row of beautiful girls, as if they were welcoming him. And Yamada Kazuo stood in front of him, with a grin on his face. You're finally here, I've been waiting for you for a long time. Li Fan's whole body was cold. Am I going to die like this? Looking at the corpses surrounding him, Li Fan's heart trembled. He woke up with a start and found that he was lying on a tatame. Sir, you're awake? A maid of the Yamada family was kneeling beside him, respectfully handed over a hot towel. Please apply it to your face. Thank you. Li Fan took the towel and wiped his face, wiping the cold sweat on his forehead. Where's Lu Xinan? Chapter 155. Mr. Li, Miss Lu has already left first. After Li Fan woke up, he understood what had happened last night. He had underestimated Lu Xinan. The reason why this woman was able to do well in a city and run such a big business for his father, she was definitely not an easy woman to get along with. Although she was not as good at arguing as him, she was very cunning. This time, she had played a good game of chess. With a kiss, she had turned him upside down. Li Fan looked around. Lu Xinan had only left him a note. See you if fate wills it. Fuck your grandpa. The next time I see you, I promise to send you to heaven. Now that he could not take a personal plane, the most important thing was that Li Fan did not bring his passport when he left. He was just a high school student. Where would he get his passport from? Now that he had entered the country illegally, it would be a huge problem for him to go back. Damn Lu Xinan, she had left him in Japan just like that. He still had to go to school tomorrow. He had to think of a way to rush back. Do you know how I can get back to China? Li Fan could only ask the maid. When Miss Lu left, she had already instructed me. The maid nodded. The helicopter to China is already waiting for you at the tarmac. That's more like it. Li Fan heaved a sigh of relief. Damn it, this Lu Xinan was not too heartless. The two of them had cheated each other for so long, and it could be considered a habit. Since she had left a way out for him, it was not to the point where they would fall out. However, he still had to think of a way to get the Imperial Jade seal back. There was no way he could get something out of his hands. Li Fan washed up simply and was not in the mood to eat breakfast. He put on the black windbreaker that Lu Xinan had left for him and followed the maid to the tarmac. A small white helicopter was parked there, quietly waiting for Li Fan. The pilot sat there, and the maid walked forward and said a few words to him in Japanese. Okay. The pilot nodded, and the maid invited Li Fan to board the helicopter. The propellers started to spin, and the helicopter slowly lifted off. The maid covered her disheveled skirt and shouted at Li Fan. Sir, please wear your umbrella bag properly. She yelled hysterically at the top of her lungs. The plane did not have permission to land. So, you can only parachute by yourself. What? Before Li Fan could ask clearly, the helicopter had already flown high into the air and headed in the direction of city. Li Fan almost collapsed. Fuck, are you kidding me? I don't know how to parachute. Stop, I don't know how to parachute. Li Fan shouted at the driver, but the driver did not understand Chinese, so he encouraged Li Fan with a bunch of Japanese. Li Fan extended his hand and pointed at the ground. The pilot smiled. Li Fan thought he understood, but unexpectedly, he stretched out his right hand and gave him a thumbs up. Following that, the helicopter flew even higher. Did this big brother think that I said he didn't fly high enough? Li Fan was about to collapse this time. This was too much of a scam. Did he have to play so big? I really don't know how to parachute. Li Fan could only cry as he looked at the vast earth below. He thought to himself, I don't want to go to the sky anymore. Since he was already here, Li Fan simply meditated and adjusted his breathing. After an unknown period of time, the pilot woke up Li Fan. He opened his eyes and saw the familiar night view of City A. He didn't expect that when he flew over, it would already be nighttime. The pilot made a gesture of refueling at Li Fan. Li Fan was crying. Refueling your grandpa, I don't know how to play with a parachute. But there was no other way at the moment. Without authorization, the pilot would never land. Li Fan opened the cabin door and looked at the vast expanse of white clouds outside. Below the clouds was a city that could be faintly seen. Li Fan's heart was pounding. What the fuck? That's way too high. Before Li Fan could react, a gust of air blew over, causing the helicopter to shake. Li Fan didn't stand firm and fell from the top. At this altitude of a few thousand meters, if he directly chased down, even if Li Fan's qigong was extraordinary, he would probably fall into a small photo. Fortunately, he still had a parachute on his back. Li Fan's body fell rapidly to the ground, and he was really a little panicked. At such a high distance, no one had confidence. I hope the quality of this parachute is good, and there won't be any accidents. But in the process of falling, Li Fan slowly changed from fear to a feeling of drifting. He felt as if he had become one with the world, and the wind around him seemed to be his partner. He subconsciously mobilized the true qi around his body, forming it like a piece of clothing, and put it on his body. His body suddenly began to slow down, as if it had become a lot lighter. He felt like he was a feather, or maybe a little heavier than a feather. His body continued to fall to the ground, but at a much slower speed. Li Fan tried to change the shape of the true qi. Soon, the true qi slowly formed a triangular shape, like a glider, and drove Li Fan's body to glide forward. Damn, is this possible? Li Fan lost his fear. He looked at the ground below him, and let his true qi act as a glider. He passed through the clouds and began to glide quickly towards the ground. But this could only be used as entertainment. If he really relied on this method to land, he was afraid that he would directly fall into hell. When Li Fan approached the city below, he finally opened his parachute. Puff! An umbrella flower bloomed in the air. Li Fan felt a big hand pulling his body fiercely, slowing down his speed many times. Finally, he slowly fell to the ground at a safe speed. Against the moonlight, Li Fan landed on the roof of a building. He took off his parachute, walked down, and tidied up his windbreaker. When he jumped down, the wind was so strong that his clothes were blown into a mess. Li Fan stood on the top of this tall building, looking down at the bright city below, and couldn't help but sigh in his heart. City, I, Li Fan, am back again. Damn it, I won't go abroad casually in the future. What a trap, it's simply a deep trap. Li Fan looked at the building that was more than 10 stories high. Looking down, it was a distance that made people dizzy. However, in order to test his strength, Li Fan took a deep breath, then stepped on the edge of the building with both feet, opened his arms, and suddenly jumped down. The wind sounded in his ears. For a moment, Li Fan actually enjoyed this feeling. His Jinqi naturally flowed out and enveloped his body. Li Fan suddenly opened his arms. The true qi was like a layer of membrane, connecting his arms and waist, letting the air support his body. Chapter 156. His falling speed suddenly slowed down, and he maintained a controllable speed. Li Fan's body flipped in the air, and then he landed steadily on the roof of a Qian. This Qian belonged to some rich young master, and it was instantly dented by his stomp, letting out an ear-piercing alarm. Fortunately, there was no one around. Li Fan gently stuck out his tongue, and then he disappeared into the night. At this moment, Yu Shi, an expert of the genie guard, who was sitting cross-legged in her room, suddenly opened her eyes. She was back, and Li Wenjua's aura had already disappeared. Yu Shi's remaining eye was still beautiful, and her eyes shone with a different kind of light. She then stretched out her hand and pointed at the wall beside her. A wooden nameplate suddenly flew down and fell into her palm. Yu Shi threw this nameplate on the ground, and a stooped figure immediately walked out from the corner, crouched on the ground, and picked up the nameplate on the ground. Yankai. Milord, are you really going to send him? This figure was Yu Shi's housekeeper. Yu Shi usually cherished her words like gold, and it was very difficult to hear her speak. This old housekeeper was called Uncle Zhong, and he was a cripple with one hand and one leg broken. However, he had always been by Yu Shi's side, and served her, so he could be said to understand her thoughts. Although this person's martial arts are not bad, his character is unstable and difficult to grasp. Uncle Zhong said rather worriedly, "If we let him carry out the mission, this old servant is worried that he will be biased." Yu Shi waved her hand, and Uncle Zhong nodded. "This old servant understands, then this old servant will go and inform this person." He retreated and crawled out, and Yu Shi closed her eyes again. That time, she had been seriously injured, and she still needed to rest for a period of time. If she still couldn't get rid of Li Fan, she would consider doing it herself. The genie guard would definitely not let any target go. The next morning, Li Fan rode a bicycle to pick up Lin Yuqing. Unexpectedly, when he arrived downstairs of Lin Yuqing's house, he saw Lin Yuqing standing at the door, waving at him. Her expression was somewhat nervous, as if she was afraid of something. Did someone bully Lin Yuqing again? Li Fan's temper immediately flared up. No matter what, Lin Yuqing was under his protection now, and someone actually dared to bully her. Wasn't this the same as provoking the Tai Sui? Li Fan rolled up his sleeves and was about to find out who bullied Lin Yuqing when the door to Lin Yuqi's house was pushed open. Her mother, Yuan Chunli, was not at work. When the middle-aged woman saw Li Fan, she went back to the house, picked up the mop, and rushed down. "Auntie, what are you doing?" When Li Fan saw this, he felt a little numb. "Little bastard, how dare you lie to me? You pretended to be a rich second generation and even drank my maodai. I'll kill you." Yuan Chunli did not know how she saw through Li Fan's identity. She picked up the mop and was about to beat him up. Li Fan could not hit Lin Yuqi's mother, so he could only dodge in panic. He said, "Auntie, you've misunderstood. Please listen to my explanation." "I'll listen to your shit. You're a sports brand, and you even sent me on a trip to Singapore, Malaysia, and Thailand. I even bought a swimsuit. Little bastard, if I don't kill you today, I'll change my surname to yours." "Mom, don't hit me. You can't blame Li Fan for this. It's all my fault. I was the one who asked him to say that to you." Lin Yin went forward to stop her, but Yuan Chunli pushed her away. "Little bastard, what kind of bewitching potion did you feed my daughter? I only have one daughter. If you dare to lay your hands on her, I'll die with you today." Li Fan cried and laughed. Who did he offend? Why did he get into such a mess right after returning to China? Many of the neighbors nearby were alarmed and came out to watch the show. "Little bastard, don't run. Stop right there." Yuan Chunli seemed to have gone crazy. She chased after Li Fan with a mop. Li Fan dodged as he thought of a countermeasure. What should I do? How should I deal with Yuan Chunli? Just as he was thinking, a black Bentley suddenly drove over, which surprised everyone. How could there be a Bentley parked in their small and rundown place? Could it be a developer? Impossible. Developers always let their subordinates come over. At most, they would drive an Audi. This was a Bentley with a black license plate. It was definitely not something an ordinary person could drive. The door of the Bentley opened. Yu Feng walked out and bowed respectfully to Li Fan. "Young master, I'm sorry. I'm late." Li Fan frowned and looked at him. He thought to himself, why is this guy here? Yuan Chunli is also stunned. The driver in the Bentley calls Li Fan, this brat, young master? No, she suddenly remembered yesterday that she seemed to have seen Li Fan before, and he was wearing the school uniform of number 2 middle school. Therefore, she specially went to number 2 middle school to check the student list and found that Li Fan was indeed a student of the school. Moreover, he had heard from a few of his classmates that he was just a little tyrant in school, not some second-generation nouveau riche. This was the reason why Yuan Chunli was angry. She had lived for so many years, but she was actually cheated by a little bastard. But at this moment, this black Bentley seemed to subvert her worldview. "Young master, what's the matter? Yu Feng asked. Li Fan rolled his eyes. Lu Xinan still owed him 60,000 yuan. He originally planned to send Yuan Chunli on a trip to Singapore, Malaysia and Thailand. Wasn't it just right now? This is my auntie, Yuan Chunli, Ms. Yuan. Li Fan immediately gave Yu Feng a look. Didn't I tell you to bring Ms. Yuan to Singapore, Malaysia and Thailand for a tour today? Why are you so late? I'm sorry, young master. I'll arrange it for you. Yu Feng went to make a phone call while Li Fan said to Yuan Chunli guiltily, Auntie, I'm sorry. I did lie to you. Actually, I'm not a university student. I'm just a high school student. At that time, I was afraid that you would be worried, so I did this. I'm really sorry. It's okay. Child, why didn't you say so earlier? Yuan Chunli only felt that the world was changing too fast. Before she could react, another Mercedes slowly drove over. Yu Feng opened the door for Yuan Chunli. Ms. Yuan, please get in the car. Leave the rest to us to arrange. I guarantee that you will have a wonderful trip to Singapore, Malaysia and Thailand. Then I'll bring 2 clothes. We've prepared all the necessary necessities for you. Just enjoy your trip. We'll head to the airport first. The special plane to Singapore, Malaysia and Thailand is already waiting for you. Yu Feng was indeed a professional bodyguard. His answers were so detailed that Yuan Chunli was a little confused. Lin Yan was also a little shocked. Yuan Chunli had already been invited to the Mercedes. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.